life. So it's T-Will on the beat.
So be sweet. And I will get away. Radio Betty Makama Seka was established in the 19th by Mr. Avicii Seka. He is the CEO of Radio PKS. Is in the United States of America. So so be sweet. Come on, love. You know, big come on, love. They don't put you don't far away. We don't big come love. We are Messiah, Kaka, we don't be here, love. So, Master Timothy Seka is the of Milo PKS. This is Sakabi in my country. Japuni Saga, Parokme, Uchebe. So you go, Malati. Mr. Harris, Uche. With the biggest. Akaya, Akakura. Bring the biggest and the tiller. And upon my Paraboya, go my new. Bring the biggest, I get that tiller. The name of the funny hero of Radio PKS, the late Pastor Josh and Boy, first manager, the late Daniel Sintao, second manager, Madam Annie Pare, they are Keomel. The late Mr. Sam Name, who cheer for the poor. Mr. Cassie Name, the week corner. Yeah. Jamie for Putu. And also, you are the premier with the biggest. Make up what you have for Cassie today. Yeah, with the bigger I am now. So, follow by other manager. To be done, you don't care. Yeah. There are several people who come up manager. I see you, baby. Sarah, sorry, there are several here now. Yes. Now to our current workers of Radio BTS, Mr. George Yabasa Tokumi Toma, station manager. Neto Kwasi, still coordinator. Very bad for me, but my father, TUB. There is a girl, my brother, so I can't do it. Yeah, my way to Mr. Rassi Kwame. For 2025. Oh, yeah, let you out. I'm going to start a baby. Everybody, and I forget your boss, you're the best runner. I see them. See you far off your married. Oh, that way, well, go to grab me. That's where I you don't know. Mr. Anthony Mami. You got Papa, yeah, guess it would do. This is yes, so the man. Talk to me, you are I talk to me to my soul. The win. My yeah. Tell the way to the good. Let's see, but you will. Better begin your head and napa. Better begin up for my napa. That never put my bones up. That one of the people that are young. Some more will do not go. Tarokaya, Taparano. Tarokaya, Taparano. The Melodaya, You will swear with me. You will. Better begin here and now. Better begin here and now. Talk up and talk on over. Don't matter how you will have been home. Ah, Diane, let's try for it. Yeah, me for what? We the big level. I'm allowing to her. She was so young. She went to worship for me. Was sitting in a corner with my guitar in my hand. Some I guess you are no 11. For my past, you are the mister. I love you, go, people. Hey, go, I love you, Papa. I love you, baby. Me, my God, I love you. I don't know. That's where I see you. I hear it myself. That's why I look at my name. I hear like I'm so well. They are going to come out of the game. Mommy, we are gentle. Let them begin here and now. They must have myself. Mr. Taco Sewa, BTS TV. But the point is, but they put me where myself. Time company myself. It's a minute for myself. I take you be myself. You back home. Presega, Yasha, Delivery, News Director. Madame, I concern. The man in black way that continue. Moody Frank, Matt Piane, Dialect Coordinator. Let us begin a woman now. None of my girl come for shopping. I told the police, let us begin there, but the police mama. Gaia, what's your what it means? Tirara is all now. How could we ask you? Or first? Better begin here and now. But I say, Kyle, better begin yes. Better begin here and now. Mama, Maru Yaman. I'm going to get out of the we want to appreciate our citizens of YouTube who help with the construction of Radio BKS 107.9. Better begin, woman,
Okay, so
Tio.
all right, so let me see if I can stop sharing. Okay, guys. All right, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop sharing.
We are
All right,
getting
guys.
you.
Can you guys hear me?
We are hearing you.
Yeah, we get you.
Okay. Yeah, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah,
See
we
you,
can hear
hearing you.
All right, yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, good evening to everyone, man. So I want to say thank you guys for coming. We have our guests in the back. We will be hosting Honorable Larry Youngquay will be our guest today. We have our hosts who are still not available yet, but they will all be joining us here shortly. So we look forward to having a very good show. I just talked to the honorable man. He's excited. He's ready to come on. This show today will be very interesting. I think I was telling DK uh, one time that this show is going to be nice because Honorable Yonkwe and my father were somehow close. He has some good history. My dad used to be elder, so he's someone that knows the family very very well. So outside of the politics, he will be talking a little bit about my father, the late Benjamin Seka, and his career as a journalist at EFW and stuff. So I told him, I said, before we get into the politics, before we start getting to the deep politics, yeah, I look forward to him having one or two things to say about the old man. So I will stop here and then see what you guys have to say. DK, you got anything to add? We have Sis Lorena on here. Chris is also here.
Yeah,
Welcome, Chris.
let's go to Lorena, Cedric, and who else we have? I don't know this in the person.
Chris.
Oh, that Dr. Chris. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's hear from them. I know Uncle Larry is a basic person, so we can bring him. He's firebrand. I know him. I know him well. There's a story about Uncle Larry and myself. So was that 2013? I don't know what year the demonstration took place at Meta that they burned and destroy the place. So it was early in our group chat. Yeah. Huh? Early 2014. Yeah. So I have been invited on True FM to speak. So I didn't know that Uncle Larry too were invited on the same program, knowing his strength and his intellectual ability. So I was in studio before him. So when I turned around, I saw Uncle Larry entering the studio. I said, ah, can it be me? That Uncle Larry and myself going against one another on the demonstration because I was like against government actions and everything, and how Meta have been treating us as people on Nima and everything. So when Uncle Larry, before Uncle Larry told his seat, I had to send a disclaimer. Like, okay, I'm speaking on my own behalf. I know I'm a youth on Nima, but I'm speaking on my own behalf. I think that was with the late Mamadi Fanta Diakite, yes, on True FM. At the time, True FM was a leading radio station in Liberia. So when I did my disclaimer, I didn't know that Uncle Larry and myself were going to speak. He's speaking on the same side. So then he came and start going. I said, but I guess somebody had defense. So I was like just giving support to everything that he was saying. So they were they relieved that at least I felt safe when he and I sat on the same platform. I think that was the first time Uncle Larry and myself appear on the same platform. Other than that, it's good. It's one of our best.
Yeah. So D, before we get to our people here, can you please connect with him? He needs to connect his phone to the microphone, even though he's in the back, but he's not connected. Yeah, call him. Yeah, call and see if you can get him connected there. Yeah. So welcome to the show, there, Sis Lorena.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening to all of you.
Yeah, it looks like Lorena connection is can you connected, right? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
There you go. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Say that.
No, so you can go ahead. One or two things to say before we get our guests on. We're just going across to introduce ourselves, talk about how prepared we are, how much we look forward to today's conversation.
Okay. Good evening to all of you panelists, and good evening to our listeners and followers on Facebook. What's on my mind is that we know sometime last week the president suspended or dismissed the 3 top guys from LDA, and then he appointed some other officials as acting. But then there's a wild allegation of one of the guys, I think it's a deputy for administration, one Patrick, that he's not qualified for the job in terms of reputation, in terms of integrity, and it is alleged that he's a drug dealer. So maybe that's something we can deeper into to see whether it is truth, to see the truth around it. Because if that is true, then I mean it's like asking the Mandingo man to say snuff. So that's what on my mind. That was like an argument. Some people in my side had stuff like, okay, I'm going to take it to BTS. We're going to think about it and see how who we can bring on to tell us more about this guy. Basically, that's what on my mind.
Yeah, and I think that drugs topic there is very, very important. That's something I think we need to get experts on here to discuss that with us. The same way we bring health people on here. We need someone with a very good background in law enforcement when it comes to drugs and stuff, dealing with drugs. I think we need someone like that to come on our show one of these days to help us with that type of discussion. But I agree with you 100%. What's on your mind, Shadrach, as we prepare for our guest today and today's show?
Okay, see you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening to all the panelists here this evening and our people out there listening to us through Facebook, YouTube, and Radio Land. So, couple of things. Well, the one that interests me is the late Grace Pay burial. People are making it out of politics. While the president did not attend the main funeral, that his old town friend group together. He was direct or chief officer. But again, the same Liberian people who would like bring the person to public ridicule, he traveled just to go bury somebody with a group of officials, and the person you were represented by, I think one of the foreign minister or somebody that few government officials went for that funeral. But the state requested that the men be buried in Liberia, and the family refused. So what do you expect for the government to do? They don't have authority over the body. The family said they would not bury men in the country but in America. And you can't have state burial in the main country. It should be in our country. So once in our country, the president has to send somebody to represent him. Once he doesn't have the time, I don't think it's a major issue for people to make out of politics again. So I was reading some of the posts from opposition, other people posting all over, he's ungrateful. Oh man, like we make everything out of politics these days, and until there's no direction of making decisions in the country easily, my brother. Thank you. We're able to see Young Quay, like somebody already said, he's one of our best for a number, well-educated old man and being the host for 12 years. So with the experience whatsoever, we hear this evening to all the questions. Yeah, while we listen to learn from you, all the questions. So what do you see? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So because of the internet connection and things in Liberia there, so we have our honorable in the back, our guest in the back. So Pintix and Chris, I will probably have to hold you guys there. Let's bring our guest on, and then we can start the conversation from there. All right, so there you go. Welcome to the show, Honorable Young Quay. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys, except that it's a little bit too low on my hearing.
From your hearing, okay. So as long as we'll try to speak out very loud so you can be able to hear us. And again, thanks so much for coming to this show. I know I spoke with you a few minutes ago. We really appreciate you taking up your time. You were somewhere in Nimba. DK tried reaching out to you. You had to push it and then make sure that you come to town. before you be our guest. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. We are in the service of the people, so no sacrifice is too much for our people.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this, I will, before we go further, I think I talked to you a few minutes ago about this platform. This platform is called BKS TV. BKS TV. The BKS stands for Benjamin Kaimon Seka, my late dad, whom you knew personally. You had experience with him. You know the family very well. And I was telling my colleagues here that I want to give you a little bit of time, few seconds, a few minutes here to talk a little bit about him, your experiences with him, who you knew him to be, and his role in our church and also at ELW, if you could, please.
Well, the late Brother Ben Seka was one of the elders of United Liberian Inland Church at the level of Monrovia, where we were youth. And he and my senior brother, Reverend Stanley Yonkwe, the late, were all at ELW together when Brother Stanley used to do his vacation job with the radio station. Brother Ben and Umedan were the dialect announcers. So I was not surprised when I heard that Benjamin Seka radio station is open in Booyah. I said, well, that's a replica of what we knew Brother Ben. And he one of the martyrs of our church. He and the late Paul Blair, unfortunately, were victims of the war, if I'm not making a mistake, and so quite to our own displeasure. And then we are connected because during our wedding in 1993, in 1994 in Ganta, when the inland folks like McCaw and Omer Johnny were coming from Sanekole to be part of our wedding at the Ganta United Methodist Gym. Your little brother, I think, say Johnny,
My older
who happens
brother.
to be the son of your mother, and Sewuya and Salos Manakwala, who lives in New Jersey. All of them were the young guys that came down from Sanekole to be part of our wedding ceremony. So I know your mother very well. I knew your father very well. And we were the youth at the time, now the youth are the elders today. So I was not surprised that God was beyond the mark as a son who has also taken interest in disseminating information to our people. And so when I was invited by DK2 being my good brother, one of the most enterprising young men that Nimba has prior to his coming on that show, I was not surprised. Even you who have been the one to invite me. So I got glued to this. I said, well, I will appear on this this platform because there are so people whom I know and I wish I just had the opportunity to appear. So when I couldn't appear last was it Friday, I felt bad. So I came to town. He wanted me to appear immediately when I couldn't appear on Thursday. So I said, no, I'm just arriving in Monrovia. Give me a chance. He said, well, Sunday will be okay. I said, yes. And so I'm very much elated to be here for us to share some fun memories. But you are doing well that you're stepping in the footstep, even though you are now a media executive, unlike the past where your father then were just staff members and they are getting the message to our people through our vernacular. And they were very well respected in the church. And the standard is set is what we are following today. So I'm very happy about that I can mingle with my junior brothers and sisters so that we can get the messages disseminated to our people. I'm very happy about that.
Thank you so much. So I'm not a journalist by profession, but
No.
so it's something that my dad did, and I'm trying to live his legacy, continue his legacy. I've ventured in that media space, like you said, as an owner of a radio station and now on this platform. But thank you so much. Our host is not here today, so I'm improvising by stepping in to his spot here. So it'll be a little bit different. We ask that you bear with us. So before we go further, our audience, our viewers, in Liberia, around the world, who are listening now, we want to know who our guest is, who Honorable Larry Yonkwa is. So we ask that you tell us who you are, tell our guests who you are in 1 or 2 minutes there, please.
Well, Larry P. Yonkwa is Larry P. The P stands for P Toze. So it has all to do with why we are so passionate about Liberia and Nimba in our community. P Toze means P remain here. So it's out of disobedience that we find ourselves going to America, to Australia, to India, to other places. After all, we're told to stay here. That's why wherever we go, we think about Liberia, we think about Nimba, we think about Flomba Mission, we think about Gipo, we think about Yisi Asono, where I have my farm. And that's all. I dream about my country, my district. And so I was born in Gipo Township, specifically Dian, a town that was established by the late the late elder, the first elder of Inland Church in Liberia, Johnny Gipo, who joined after 1938, the missionaries came to Flumba Mission, Teacher Finlay, Teacher Carson, barely three years after he joined the church. So he was a pioneer local persons in that area, and thereby became the first elder of the church. So he built a town separate from Gipo town, in which I was born 2 years after. He built it in 1957. So there where it is. So we from that background, and I started my school in Flumba Public School in 1968, and we went to St. Mary's High School. I attended 1 year at PSC, 1 year at Mother Todman Elementary in San Nicolas, and matriculated to St. Mary's in 1975 and graduated in 1980. Entered the university very few weeks after my graduation, and graduated from the university with a degree in economics and minor in demography. A few months after, I found myself in Ghana doing master in demography and population studies to be exact. And since then, we returned to the country and we made our massive contribution in the executive, in the population policy coordination unit, the secretariat of the National Population Commission in 2000, and where we where we went through the rank from senior research officer to a director, and then later on I took over the unit upon the resignation of our boss, who spent 47 years at the Ministry of Planning and Economic Affairs. And so upon taking over, I was promoted to the rank of senior economist, one of the senior economists at the Ministry of Planning and Economic Affairs, because you will provide the demographic data to put human face to development. You are no less economist than those that put the economic business on their head. I was there with a junior brother like Epozuo and most of our prominent Liberian, Dr. Michael Dan, who were in the planning ministry at the time when I was promoted as senior economist and responsible for coordinating the population policy. We were providing the data for national development planning. But then the need for us to play a major role in national politics could not be controlled, because at the University of Liberia, we went to serve as president of the Nimba University Student Association, and then later on as vice president of the University of Liberia Student Union. As a matter of fact, I shared a ticket with the current National Security Advisor, Attorney Samuel Kofi Woods. He was my presidential candidate, and I was his deputy. And then we served well until we graduated. So in politics, national politics, I was a founding chairman of the Liberty Party, because I was chairman of the Friends of Bronski in Nimba in 2005, 2004. And when the party was organized, I was told to lead its registration and presided over the convention in Ganta, where Bronski was elected as standard bearer. And then we went through it, served on the ticket. I didn't win, Bronski didn't win. So the following year, I wanted to go independent, but my brother, the late Dr. Marcus Dan, was the standard bearer of UPP, who was in collaboration with LPP, at the time known as the ADP, APD, Alliance of Peace and Democracy. And so I served on that and successfully won but that time we were in collaboration with the Unity Party. So we supported the second term of Madam Salif. And so upon her departure, we didn't really see coordination. So I went to ANC, where we were able to be part of the CPP, headed by, at the time, Musa Belite, who was the chairman, and the Senate Bureau was Mr. Alexander Cummings. We went through the election, and the result was what it was. We unfortunately lost our seat after serving 12 years at the legislature. And so we decided to go into sabbatical. So I went back to East Arsenal in Gibo, Dian to be exact, to do what we know best, which is farming. So we were there until we were discovered recently by Honorable Musa Hassan Belite after 1 or 2 months of negotiation for us to accept to join a citizen movement for change as the National Vice Chair for Data Research and Planning. And we accepted it because it falls in line with our own profession. So whatever contribution we'll be making to the national political arena, especially when it comes to consolidating our democracy, will be from professional point of view, because many times politicians speak without really doing research, and as a result, they embarrass themselves, even when it comes to the formulation of platform and manifestos, or sometimes they say things that do not jive. And so it was from this background, I guess, that the executive committee decided to give me the portfolio. So we have accepted it graciously. Last Friday, we were in Saclay carrying on strategic meeting with the NIMBA folks. And then from there, because of this sermon, I decided to come down to cater to requests for our people to hear us. So we'll be doing a lot of media appearances. We just canceled one tonight, tomorrow morning for Truth FM, and it will be rescheduled. OK FM will be hearing from us soon. And so I'm here at your disposal. Any question you want to ask? I know Mele DK is well informed about Limba politics, and I don't know much about most of the panelists, but I'm sure you guys are children of Liberia and to some extent Nimba. And so you will also be able to come up with any and all information that you want to hear from me as it relates to my conviction for joining the CMC, and what we can salvage from there. Because Nimba is a very great country, we cannot allow for it to be just silent in the hand of few political players. Everybody has to come in to give his own contribution or her own contribution. So I'm very happy that one of our best, which is the son of Seka, and some of the faces I see around, were able to call on me this morning, or this evening rather, for me to see what I can offer with regards to the consolidation of our democracy and building a strong NIMBA. Because all politics is local. If you want to be a national figure, you have a very poor background, and you are not well connected with your people, then you are not a national figure. So we always accentuate working with our people at the lower level, and then it is true that we can be projected up there. So I'm very happy about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can guarantee you that you will be entertained tonight. Our panelists are well versed politically, and I think it's going to be a great conversation. Speaking of that, what we usually do is we go around the table, and then our panelists will have questions for you, and then you will respond to the questions. So I will stop here and ask DK if he has anything to say first before we go to our panelists.
Thank you, thank you, Uncle Larry. I was just giving a brief history between you and I, and let me appreciate you for coming. Like I told my guys before your appearance, almost everybody here who are panelists know your strength. So we hope our conversation here don't go high on us, go high on the politics. Yeah, even when we make it.
I was listening to you when you were giving the history between you and I. I was listening to you.
Yeah. So thank you. I mean, I'm not asking questions. I will go around the table.
we were going to start with Printers first, and then from
Okay,
there
go
we'll
ahead.
go. So Printers, you can have your 2 questions to the honorable.
Okay. Thank you, CEO, and I
Yes,
hope
sir.
you getting me.
Yes, sir. I'm hearing you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Honorable Yonko, good evening, and it's good having you here with us today.
Thank you. Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I listened to your background, your
open my
professional
desk.
background, your political history, and my first question will be from your political history. So from what you said, it means since 2005 in post-war Liberia, in every election you have identified with a new political party. Beginning with 2005, you were with the Liberty Party. 2011, you went to I didn't get the party name correct, but I know you worked with the late Honorable Marcus Dine. Then you later gave support to the Unity Party. The election after you were with the Unity Party fully. Then our last election ANC, and by extension the CPP, and now you are with the CMC. So, Honorable Yonkwe, what message or what exact principle that you have not identified in all of the political parties you have you work with in post-war Liberia that you find within the CMC?
Well, I like one of your popular colleagues would say, Honorable Gafon, as long as Liberia's situation has not yet stabilized, we will continue to align and realign. So, what we have thought we will have in a political party is a nationalistic agenda, a political party that will come up with a budget that is national ideology, national philosophy, leadership philosophy will be manifested in its national budget. You can't say you want to make the country food sustainable, or where 80% of our people are involved in simple agriculture, and then your budget shows that you have less than $10 million allocated for agriculture. It just doesn't make sense. And so, unfortunately, most of the political parties that have affiliated, if not all, have never had opportunity to lead. So, we still believe that the Liberian political system need to be radicalized, for lack of better words. For example, I'm affiliating with CMC. The role that the current political leader is playing at the legislature is the very role I played when I was there. I was there for the rule of law. People wanted to get rid of Ellis Tyler simply because he was accused. We were one of the 28 persons that said no. Recusal is personal, but the law of Liberia had never been amended. You are presumed innocent until proven guilty. And so the man cannot be forced to resign. It was at our own volition that we told him to resign because the country was tense. When they could not get him out legally, the Madam Seli was employing all kind of unorthodox means to get him out, including the women lying down at the entrances of all the Capitol building fence. And that was the next thing would be something more than contemplated. So we told him, look, resign, even though it is not out of fear, but he did it out of strength. The same thing that was replicated recently with Kofa, and the ground that Musa played shows to us that the tenacity that is in us that we are looking for other leaders to have can be found in him. And he'll be talking about the auditing of the legislature. He's talking about a bloated budget. I'm looking for a president that is going to use executive order. The Donald Trump style, use executive order. The budget is a law. Prepare your own budget from October to inauguration. Let your own budget be prepared where you cut everybody's salary maximum $5,000. And gasoline is all included in there. If you are to get vehicle from the government, it should be on a loan basis that you will be paying towards it. Let all the resources be directed to the other places. You can't be talking about you want your children to be educated. And the last time I checked at the legislature, we never allocated less than $80 million for education. But lawmakers end up using their money to buy benches, to buy chairs. It's fun. Lack of supervision. So to me, I'm looking for people who will take this country very serious. And so as long as I can see in any leadership, I will continue to go around there and find it. It is us who can introduce our political party to our people. It is not a party that can make us win. So it's not about going to a political party for our hand to be lifted, but we rather lift the hand of our political leaders to our people. When I was running on the Unity Party ticket, when my people were giving me 1,100 votes in my town, they were giving Ome Baga 880 votes. Even the runner, he got similar number in my home. So I'm just talking about my home, not even Flumpa. So our people believe in us, as Jesus would say, my sheep knows me, knows my voice, and they follow me. So we are here to ensure that the right thing is done. And where we're going, if we do succeed, Liberia will be to where we want it to be. And you will see me stuck to one political party. But as long as we say have a president that will increase the budget of the Ministry of State from 11 million from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to 21 million to George Weah, and now we're talking about 25 million, even in a rescue government, then we're not serious. As long as the speaker is making 1.5 million, 2 million, protest 2 million United States dollars with all the other things attached, and then the poor teachers in the place there is getting less than $150, then we're not serious. So these are the things that are leading to the alignment and realignment, and we're very serious about it. I'm very happy that I've given the statistics role to play. So we'll be talking more about analyzing our national budget and helping the political leader and most of the people who speak for our party to talk about straightening this country using statistics that didn't say are generated, and so that we can look for a way to appeal to the electorate to elect our president, John Kennedy, so that it kind of change that we envisage the Thomas Sankara style of leadership, the gentleman in Burkina Faso style of leadership. So instead of bringing in a huge number of state-of-the-art vehicles, you bring in tractors to till the soil to produce food. Instead of waiting for concession agreement to give you peanuts in terms of royalty, you take over, and then you come over. Look at, you are giving executive order for those that plant their rubber on their own to ensure that nobody exports unprocessed rubber. But you have no executive order on gold diamond. The people are taking our gold in blocks through helicopter and mini aircraft in this country. And we don't have executive order to say you have to stay here and process the gold. You have to deposit certain portion of your income into Liberian banks to make sure there is liquidity. These are the kind of things I'm here to make research and tell my political leader to air out there saying he is the chief spokesperson for the party. And so your question is, because the kind of philosophy, the kind of development ideology I'm looking for in these political parties, I don't see it. It's just a matter of changing leadership. You preside over it and continue to carry your budget up. Rule of law, zero. Did we really have to go through what we went through? The stalemate? Nothing. If you really want to get a speaker out, there were a lot of counts that they may have 1.5 million, but ended up with 5-point-something million, according to the outturn. Send the man to LACC, prosecuting, letting our Liberian law say when you are guilty of corruption, you do not serve. Then you getting out legally and place what you want to place there, but to continue with the statement to the extent that even our capital building had to be burned, I don't see it as a serious government. These are the issues. So do I go put myself there in that kind of government? Even the other people, when they win, okay, CDC was there. They are only fighting to get there and continue with the same thing. No. I'm looking for a president that will, the first budget will be by executive order. That the next 12 years, 12 months, you'll give it to me. Let me start something, you always can't take over. But anything short of that, zero. So that's my position, boss man.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know, CEO, what I could just get a quick follow-up question to that in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, let's see
what's my second question.
Yeah, just go straight to your second question. We know we still have another round, so go to your second question.
Okay, Honorable Yonkwe, I really like sometimes the objective criticism from opposition figures like you, and I'm also constrained to gather my next question from your previous response, that you intend or you look forward to a radical change. So you serve as lawmaker for 12 years. And by the time that you were lawmakers, most especially during the Madam Serif term, that was the time that the media and other civil society group reported of very huge benefits from, at the time by lawmakers, which you were, one of those. And you got 45,000 to get guys after every 3 years. So what changed that you recommended regarding the huge salaries and benefits, which you criticizing today?
Well, at the level of the legislature, decisions are made by majority. Minority have their say, majority have their will. So if I had my own way, we were even gone lower than we went. When we inherited at least on a larger scale, some $12,000, but we remained there until we came down to 7,000. That portion of it can be paid in Liberian dollars, and you add 6,000 plus as US dollar component. So we accepted graciously the so-called harmonization, which I don't even call it harmonization, but it was just a straight jacket reduction in some of the salary scale, and then the other ones were not harmonized because it's not only enough to cut down salary, but it was also good to up the people who were at the lowest echelon. So the money that was taken from the higher earners were gone to the lower earners, and that's why we criticize the harmonization. It was not harmonization. And so those are some of the places. When it comes to excesses in government, there are many instances. For example, the Nimba County Social Development Fund, when we went to a county sitting and allocated $2.7 million for Nimba County development in 2020, and the way the PMC election went, I and Senator Koga, the current Senator Koga, then representative and secretary general of the Nimba Legislative Caucus, we went to court. We went to the circuit court to issue writ of prohibition on the outcome of the election that was single-handedly done by the former chairman, the late Senator Johnson. And our prohibition lasted for 10 days. They responded, but the Supreme Court, the circuit court ruled essentially that once we mention the caucus and the superintendent of the country, the president has been invariably brought in. And under the law, when the president is sued, only the full bench of the Supreme Court can hear that. And we did not relent. We pushed our case. The former representative Prince Toba and Koga were the three that took the rest of the caucus and the county administration to the Supreme Court on an appeal. Because that's the only way it could be heard if we are just going on declaratory judgment as to whether an entity that is going to preside over $3 million plus can be done by a show of hand, whether we could not use a universal suffrage, which is one man, one vote through secret ballot. We could have opted for declaratory judgment. But we're also advised that if we did so, we put our fate in the hands of the justice in chief. He or she could decide not to grant us the declaratory judgment, and then we will have nowhere to go. So if we wanted really to get to the bottom, then it would best serve us to start with the 8th Judicial Circuit Court in Senegal. So we went in fact, and the case was heard. It was said, well, the result of the election will stand until the Supreme Court can hear it if we want to go to Supreme Court on appeal. Because going to Supreme Court on appeal is not debatable. They can't deny us until they go into the case. But it was a time we're moving towards election, and given the reluctance of some of the judges, including the bigger one at the time, which came from our country, it went on until the time for which those guys were elected expired. And we are where we are. We can't account for the $2.7 million that were allocated. So it was handled by those that were handpicked by our godfather at the time, and we are where we are. And so I was not quiet that the census, I met the executive director of the United Nations Population Fund in Vancouver, Canada, and many other places where I chatted with her on many occasions that Nimba, Liberia, is going through a census that has outgrown the 10 years prescription. And so what can we do And she said they were going to raise funds. Once I can convince the legislature to provide at least $3 million. I came and made a case, and we made available $3 million, and these people raised over $17 million. But the census implementation was problematic. I was all over the place telling the people, hey, what I know, the census is to be held. We're going to get no more than 10%. And what we have today is just a disaster. I understand they want to pass a resolution to allocate seats to country, and that's going to be a serious problem because we'll go to court. Once Liberian people did not listen to her, and most of the people who are in the Senate and in the House of Representatives were part of the legislature, and those that were not even in the legislature were living in this country. We were talking about the handling of the census, and what we have today. We should use it to set a threshold. Liberia cannot be talking about 20 years, 22 years after the cessation of hostility in this country. We are one of the longest democratic experiences uninterrupted. To be talking about giving seats to people simply because we don't believe in the data and the rest of it. We're going to go to court to ensure that we live within the confines of the constitution that we say have, because we warned them and nobody was willing to listen. So the census result we have, how can Nimba County that was practicing only 19% in modern contraceptive among women of childbearing age be told that she only got 34% of her population increase in the census? You practice almost 0% modern contraceptive, but your population increase cannot even exceed 35%. Are you kidding me? We were 420 some more thousand in 2008. We who are even more than double our population. Number should be talking about anywhere between 800 to 1 million, 800,000 to 1 million. But they are telling us we are 600. So people were deciding to suffocate the bigger countries at the expense of the smaller countries. And so these are some of the things we'll be elucidating and telling the Liberian people that any attempt for people to say the setting aside the census result, they will see us in court.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
these are some of the issues. I have never been quiet, and I have done it on a grand scale. I have gone to Supreme Court to straighten some things in Liberia. So if I had my own way, you tell me to do. Child labor time people are making $1,000, and they were good lawmakers. So why we can't make $4,000? There's a change in maybe inflation and other things. So I've never been quiet. Check my record. I've been very vocal on issues. So it's not a matter of you have been there all along. What did you do? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
The public record of you suggesting reduction in huge benefit, but it's okay. See, you can take it from there.
So yeah, well, I think somebody may have question about that, but thank you so much for clarifying that. DK, over to you. What's your question you have?
DK again.
Let DK sorry.
I mean, yeah, go around the table. We will end with Uncle Larry. So let's go to the other panelists because they're already complaining.
Yeah, so now in that case, we'll just go across. Says Lorena, what's your two questions you have for Honorable Youngquay?
Good evening, Honorable Youngquay.
Good evening.
Okay, so my first question. So you were representative of District 8 for 12 years. And in the 12 years, I would like to know how did your leadership positively impact the people of District 8, especially when it comes to your cardinal function that has to do with lawmaking, one of your cardinal functions that have to do with lawmaking. What are some of the bills you sponsored or co-sponsored that positively impacted the life of District 8, by extension, Limbayans, as lawmaker for 12 years? That's my first question.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm very confident of my role, or I was very confident of my role, and I played them very well to the best of my ability. When it comes to law making, we were able to pass a number of laws on the floor of the House. But almost all the time I was there, I was in the opposition. Even during the time Unity Party was in chair, because of my own way of looking at Liberia, I was almost treated like an opposition. So most of the things did not go through the way it was intended, but we managed to have them pass on the floor of our lower house. For example, the non-board fee payment bill, that whenever you were a statutory member of the board, you're not supposed to have board fee. Like, for example, all boards, public corporation, and other parastatals in Liberia, the board is either headed or is populated by Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Justice. Some key agencies, these two entities are always there. And depending on the sector, you have other agriculture or lands and mines also being on that board. If it is mineral, then lands and mines will be there, or mines and energy will be there. If it is financial institutions, the central bank, development, BDR, PRC, Freeport, most of those times these statutory members from the government ministries will be members. And these people signed for board fee. We were passing law that these people should not. Their being on those boards is an extension of their responsibility under the law. That passed at the lower house, and it could not find itself at the level. It could not pass at the level of the Senate, apparently because the governance, the code of conduct law was being passed, and other integrity laws were also on the way to the very place. And then we came out with a law on the social development funds not being channeled through the executive branch. It should only go to the Ministry of Finance for documentation, and it should go straightly in the coffer of the country's concern. Again, and we were to change, we have to come out with a law on social development fund so it can be standing, so that whenever you want to amend it, you have to go through the rigors of amending other laws instead of always making it to appear in the national budget, which is subject to change every year. And so that law too was pushed by some civil society groups, and we were able to pass it at the lower house. It remain at the Senate until we are where we are, but we were able to get something out. My district is one of those districts that are affected by the operation of ArcelorMittal. The railroad passes through Gbana Chiefdom and Lao and Zan Chiefdoms, three of which are part of the district that I presided over. So we're part of the affected community. And so we said that the money, the 20% in the 1.5 million, which is 300,000, should remain with ArcelorMittal. And we set up a mechanism that the districts can identify what they want to do with the money and use it there directly, irrespective of whether or not we are having county sitting, whether we are fighting over the 80% in Senegal. Those projects, those monies should be used, because the philosophy of the 20% for the affected community is to enhance ownership, to promote ownership of the investment by those that have contiguity with the operation. Because if you have the railroad going through your area, or the money is taking place in your area, you are contiguous to the operation of the company. If you are not happy, your dissatisfaction will affect the company more than ordinary members of the country. And so we want them to feel that it is their property, it is their investment, they're getting something out of it. And so that was agreed upon. And the Minister of Finance signed onto that MOU, Internal Affairs signed, and National Investment Commission signed, Justice signed. And the caucuses of Bond, Nimba, and Bassa were able to convince those people to come up with that memorandum of understanding, and it is still working today. That has come since 2020 when we went to Supreme Court. There have been no county sitting, there was never one, but projects continue to go on in those districts because their money was set aside to benefit them directly. Because anything shy of that, people were going to start doing something unorthodox on the railroad, thereby causing problems for international investors. So that's one of the things we did, and our people are still benefiting from it today. We passed law. I know I was a consultant as a population scientist, the various dichotomy of the population, like the disabled, the youth, the women. And so we were working with the disabled when we were in our private sector. And so when I took over, I managed to pass a white king law that will make all motorists and other vehicular movers to identify the white kings in the hand of the blind people, which is their right, their universal right, and there will be fines attached to it if you hit any blind person that has that white king in your hand, any stick for that matter, any object that the blind person will show that they are not visually competent. So be careful as you move around. You will bear penalty. That law also passed at our level. All of them passed on the floor of the house. So basically, these are some of the things. When it comes to advocacy, we were able to ensure that our people get the best out of what they get. For example, Kugopa Plantation, which is in my district, when it came in 1947, it got 125,000 acres, and they were paying only 6 cents per annum per acre to our people. But the new concession agreement that came, which we wrote a communication on the floor, and the management that was there was ejected. The Liberia company was ejected, and we have a Liberian company there called Nimba Rubber Incorporated. Right now, the concession agreement is juicy. They are providing $5 per hectare, $5 per hectare per annum, and we reduced their 125,000 acres to only 12,800 acres. The rest was cut away and went back to our community, especially in the existence in the wake of the Line Right Act. So the people of Boklan, not Boklan, but Gwei in District 2, and the people of Ga in District 2, and the people of Gbana and Lisono in District 8 are all benefiting from that money. And then in addition to that, for every sale made, 1% go to that community on a yearly basis. As I speak to you, Kugopa through Nimba Rubber Incorporated should have anything between $200,000 or $250,000 to that community. It's written in a concession agreement. They are $5,000 for scholarship per annum, and they have been giving it consistently. It's benefiting our people. Imagine people who were giving 6 cents to the central government and never came by. They are receiving this amount of money. Of course, $5,000 is given per annum to manage that fund. Contrary to even ArcelorMittal, where they see 1.5 million is the one we're supposed to take money from inside to pay PMC. So these are some of the benefits our advocacy and our oversight play. Of course, representation is one of the most visible lawmakers at the level of the capital. And I made over 40 trips representing Liberia as a population scientist that was coordinating the Liberian Parliamentary Forum on Population and Development. I rose to the rank of being an executive committee of the African Parliamentary Forum on Population and Development, which by extension attachment to the European Parliamentary Forum and Asian Parliamentary Forum, and of course the All-American Group on Population and Development, where we went to places. So I think given this, I've served well. Somebody got to just give way at a certain point in time. So we had to give way, and we took political sabbatical, and we're finding our way back into the mainstream politics. So basically, that's what we did.
Thank you. Thank you. Larry, you got your last question, the second question?
Thank you. Thank you. So my last question. So, and I actually have a different question, but the answer you gave to print this question made me to want to ask this question instead of my original second question. So you said until you find a political party that which budget will reflect what they want to do, they keep going from one party to another. And you have been with the Liberty Party, you've been with the ANC, you've been with the UP, and now the CMC. And some of the reason you gave is a law. Because the money that comes to each sector is the budget, and the budget is the law. And the extent to which you go from one party to another, and given this reason, it brings about an ethics check. While it is true, it is your right, it is your constitutional right to associate with any political party, but the extent to which it is done makes one to wonder, especially getting your answer to say, what is wrong? Is it actually because, if it is because of reflecting what the party stands for or the government stands for in the budget, you had that authority for 12 years. So the reason I asked my first question is because I want to know, what are some of the laws you made when it comes to the budget? What are some of the things you did? What are some of the things you said to say, okay, let's reduce our salary, let's put it this way. What are like if you co-sponsor, or what are some of the things that you did in that regard? Because for me, the answer you gave me to Quincy's question, I think when you had a gamble of making the law, the budget, which is the law, it doesn't add water to me. So what are some of the things you did? Because even if you go to CNC, if the executive, uh, just in case CNC having to win an election and the mayor of budget say health sector is 40 million, it is your right as a lawmaker to accept it, to amend it, to increase it, So what did you do in that regard so that we can know your reason is very genuine? Because
All right.
we don't want to hear the same story of politicians. We want to hear different and genuine story. What are some of the things you did in that regard? Because for me now, it's the issue of ethics, it's
But
not
you got so
constitutional right
Larry,
or movement.
you got to ask the question. Let him answer. Yeah, let him answer to the question. You've already asked the question. Honorable, you got the question.
Yes, I got it. She wants to know what did I do
Mm.
to advocate for reduction in our benefits. Like I said, my response is as good as your ability to accept it. So I wouldn't like to blow my own whistle. One thing I know is that I was never a friendly guy when it comes to bettering the condition of our people. But the way the legislature work is by majority rule, and when people have intention for doing what they do, they don't listen to any views that seem to go off tangent with theirs. And so the first thing is the budget comes, is not discussed until it is brought from the committee room. When the executive brings the budget, a motion is made to send to the Committee on Ways, Means and Finance, and of course, Committee on Public Accounts. It spends minimum 2 months with them, and because that's why people fight over the leadership of the legislature coming from their party. And so, if, for example, in the case of CDC, where my own best friend, Dr. Buffer Chimba, was the speaker, if it is intentional that the budget must pass the way it came from the executive, which is the framework, and we are only there to give an official stamp to it. If it is the wish of the party for what was brought from the executive to remain, obviously nobody will want to listen to any view that we seem to go counter to what is established. And these are the problems we went through. This is why even the census business came the way it went. And so you are right. We may not have put ourselves on record to say this. Say the only thing you can do is to cause trouble and they pull you out. Pull you out temporarily and you come back. But at the end of the day, even during the time budget is brought on the floor for debate, if they already made up their mind for things to remain where they are, they will not even allow people to show hands. They will just pass it on year and year basis. And so they say the minority, yeah, you can make your thing, but before you go to public hearing or to pass the budget, the people who are already met to make sure they got their 37%, which is the simple majority that is required for passage of the budget. And so that's it. But we were never quiet, and not one person can come up with a counter proposal for reducing something. That's why we're happy when the harmonization came, but we thought what they are cutting from the higher or were going to reflect in the lower budget. So basically that's why it is. It's not as simple as saying, look, I want this to be done. When you don't have the authority, you cannot do it. The only legislature, the only speaker that didn't go the way of the president was the speaker called Alex Tyler, who in his second term was, or in his third term, was not really agreeing with the president, and that led to him being ousted. And you saw the drama that went on, even though the both of them came from the same country. At a certain point in time, he was asking questions. He said, "Oh, this guy want to be first case." Snow was not ejected because he went against the president. He was ejected because of one or two reasons. But Ellis started stood well at a certain point in time, especially when the oil block business came. And so these are the issues. So if you have a pro-regime speaker and they are already made up their mind for certain budgetary allotment to remain as they are, you can make your nose on the floor and not be heeded. That's why the executive being powerful, we want to support a president that has shown to us, even in a low-key position at the level of government, that he's prepared to bring some meaningful changes, given the level of advocacy and the rest of it. Otherwise than that, you just bring this armchair politician and place in there, the budget will remain the same, and they will just be adding on top of it, and it will not take us anywhere. We don't need IMF money. We don't need World Bank money to change this country. The money we need to change this country is with us, giving our mineral resources, our taxes, our revenues from cross-border trade, all these money, they are here. But the allocation is what we have, and it has been like that from day one. And so the moment we have somebody going against that tradition and come up with a budget that is very low up there and bulk of it going to the 80% down there, then we're talking about Liberia getting ready to go for development. So you are right. Nothing we can do when you don't have the gavel in your hand. And that's why you didn't see much of what we did. But we were very happy when the harmonization came, and today the lawmakers are not taking more than $6,000 at the lower house plus maybe 200,000 LD, which culminates all into maybe $7,000 plus their gasoline, which sends at $3,000 per month. And so if you add that one, they are around $9,000. And so we should stay huge. We need to cut everything down. Even when I see myself over there, they tell me you're taking $4,000 home, I will be very, very happy. Once I'm not having the burden of buying decks, buying floor mat and mattresses for clinic, and buying the other detergents and other things that the people need, gloves, other things. We don't need. These are the burden, and we can't say we're not doing it. But let it be reflected in the budget, then we have less burden. So this is what went on the way it is. Not that we're weak, where we wouldn't have achieved some of the changes that we brought at other sector level.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I want to also add on here that our show is being relayed at BKS radio station in Butua. So we have our people there listening to you. And also I want to send a shout out to Sarah Swooman from Banwe, who came out with a brand new, a very beautiful music for our radio station, our TV station. I think I even posted that on our platform today. And it's a beautiful music. We have all our panelists here, all featuring that music. So after the show, when you have time, you can listen to it. So thank you so much. I just want to send that shout out there before we go to our next panelist here. So Siawete, we'll move on to you with your next question, your two questions for the Honorable.
Thank you, CEO. And good evening to Honorable Yonkwe. I want to get him.
Yeah, he can hear you. He's listening.
Oh, okay. Back to Nimba. Listen to Honorable Yonkwe regarding the historic PNC election in 2020, where he and other lawmakers, flew to the Supreme Court. And he said, I think it remained a declaratory judgment. And he categorized the PMC or the usage of the fund at the time. And, it was not accounted for. But my concern is, Yonkwe, the amount that was not accounted for, to my understanding, there were some projects done in your district. So people could ask how the people that you describe as, and they were illegal, and you took them to court, and they did not account for the fund, but took project in your district.
Thank you. Well, as a lawmaker, we should not be lawbreakers. So when we went to the 8th Judicial Circuit Court, the court ruled that we should return to status quo ante until we can complete the process. Our lawyer put in for an appeal to the Supreme Court. And so they said we should revert to status quo ante until the Supreme Court hears the case. So that means the court reenacted the power that the prohibition took from the newly elected officers. So they proceeded with the use of the money while the case was pending. So I wouldn't have gone to stop it. I think the only person that did not allow project to go on in his district that was Honorable Koga. But as a law-abiding citizen, the way I look at it was that their division of labor, the court has ruled that we should go back to where we came from. That means the result of the election will stand until the case is adjudicated. So if the Supreme Court had been forthcoming to listen to our appeal, apparently they would have stopped that from happening and the money will be reallocated. But secondly, that particular commissioner compound in Flumpa was built by money that was allocated prior to the county sitting. Every year they give $50,000 at county sitting for each administrative district. And that money had been there several years prior to the confusion. So it was not the money we allocated that project was implemented from. It was prior to the 2020 county sitting, for your information. But even if it were from the new budget, there is no way I could stop it because the court is a separate branch. It does not interfere in the operation of the two other branches. When they say something, the minute they say go back to status quo ante, we went back to status quo ante until otherwise order. And the 3 years for which the people were elected drag on until we were paying them, even though they were not implementing anything. So it's not only the 2.7 million that went with our accountability, but we pay people for services that did not really benefit our people. The same way with the yellow machine business and where we are today. So basically, yes, but it can be explained that the court told us you'll go back to status quo ante until the case can be adjudged. And so because the case was never heard to the finality, the people had to work. Those ones that were already on screen to be implemented. That's what went on.
Thank you. So your second question. You are muted. You are muted. You are muted. We can't hear you. No, we still can't hear you.
Sawate, you have to unmute your mic.
Unmute your mic.
Oh yeah, sorry, my computer is malfunctioning a little. Yeah, my next question, I'm still in Nimba. You know, on a Yonkwe, like from the beginning of the show, DK said he's one of the tough talking and vocal and lawmaker. In a 50-10, 54th, we follow a lot of argument and a lot of debate in Nimba. Mainly when it comes to you, Senator Johnson and other members of the caucus, there were a lot of tension rising. One we want to know what will actually the cause of most of those arguments among the NIMA Legislative Caucus, and how do you grade the current relationship of the NIMA Legislative Caucus, even though you are not in the House for now, you are not in the House now. What was then the main cause at the time in the House, and how do you grade the current NIMA Legislative Caucus?
Thank you. Well, the way some of us behave during our tenure was dictated by our upbringing. Like I said, we came from an upbringing scenario where the truth was the hallmark of the day. The Christianity that our people accepted, and then through which they trained us, talk about speaking truth to power, then coupled with the education that we got, it made us to be somehow a little bit independent in thinking. In as much as I respected our senator, I felt that we needed to let him know that he was just the first among equals. We were elected by our constituents. Our people look up to us to straighten the community for them through the law and decisions we make. But most of our brothers, and I don't mince my word, wanted to use the heroic posture of our old men to suppress other people at their advantage. And that's why I made some of them to be where they are today. Senator Johnson was a kind-hearted man. He was the one that used to call us, even up to the time he died. I think barely 2 months to that time, he used to call me. That's the man. He had a very soft heart. But people made him to say, look, oh man, even the president scared of you, even the court scared of you. Put your hand in this thing, let's do this thing any kind of way, nothing will come. And so you see us talking the way we did, not because we disrespected him. We know it. Senator Johnson, then when they were bodyguards of Kurungba, we were leading the university students in the 80s. Senator Johnson was there at 72 when I'm heading my 66 years. So he was not a man that would bomb me. He was my big brother, you know. So, but we respected them for what they did during the revolution, and they too should respect us, and they respected us for the role we played. We made Jackson Hebdo to our own massively because when they banned UPP and LPP, I was president of the Nimba University Student Association. We went into lab with full scale, and we made it thick for the government at the time, and Jackson Hebdo won, though he was deprived. So we all had a long history of being here. And so I couldn't disagree with him simply because I wanted to see him there. But I was immediately felt with some of our colleagues who felt that they could use the old man to suppress other people. And that's basically what went. But outside of that, when we met, it was all joke. And I would tell them frankly what I wanted us to see done for the betterment of our country. I served as co-chair to him for 3 years. When Tigo Yole issue came, I was in the United States when they wanted to get the ball humiliated because he said that you as caucus should only approve of money from the county coffers, but the implementation should be left with the superintendent and the development office. But we went and started finding vendors for the completion of the county fee. And so he spoke, and people said he should be dismissed because of that. And I said, no, the guy is doing the right thing. There's division of labor here. So they left me and said they were firing me from the co-chairman position for administrative reason, as if the caucus was somebody private business or some kind of corporate entity. Then, of course, it was a tradition that once the senator was Warbe, he was the lifetime chairman of the caucus. It was somebody from the minority tribe that would always be co-chair. And so, since we didn't have any other tribe besides the Mano, which was minority to those that were always in heavy number, the co-chair was always coming from there. So when I left, they put Tingman there. You know, our chairman could not stay out until after 5, and politicians worked late. So most of the time, it was the co-chair that were presiding. And then the thing about it, the North, was that when we take a decision, then the senator will just take a phone and call Nimba County and chakla the whole thing. So I said, well, no, it doesn't work like that. When you tell, oh, look, you guys have your district, you decide. Whatever you want, you decide. I will just approve of it. Then you take one phone call and chakla everything, then you make it smaller. Or those are it. But it was not because of any fundamental difference, any personal difference that I had with the senator, or both of our colleagues who immensely benefited from him, who even are enjoying the statuses that they have today, made the poor man to feel that we were against him. But it wasn't so. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given land to Senator Johnson for him to extend the school. Where he had a basketball court today, he used to praise me and say, Larry, give me the land. And I was relocated by the landlord simply because I wanted the facility he brought to us to hold ground. And so he was my good old man, my good brother, but it was people who were pushing us, and we have what we have. But otherwise than that, it was all about the interest of our country.
Thank you.
I hope I have done justice to your question.
Yes.
Was there a second question?
Yeah. Huh? I just wanted to do
to evaluate the current leadership.
Yes. You can go ahead and do that. Honorable, go ahead and do that.
We are in crisis. And I'm very unequivocal about it. The caucus could do well if they had allowed some changes in the leadership. The current chairperson of the caucus, who came there by default because of the same thing, Senator Johnson was the chair, so you couldn't have taken a co-chair from the side that he came from. You had to go elsewhere. And the minority tribes, there were 2 of it, Mandingo and Man. But Mandingo could not have been chosen because he was not part of the ruling party. And so it fell down on my immediate successor, unfortunately, by default. Now his weakness is being exposed. There is a chairman of a caucus that does not appear in public forum, doesn't address public forum. Just recently, when we were celebrating Chief Justice Baise in Ganta, a chairman of the caucus as well be welcoming Nimba Kante to the kind of major achievement. Came 2 hours late. The secretary had to proxy for him. When we went to Senator Johnson's funeral, he had to allow Senator Nyanto to speak, whereby the caucus chair should be the one always to be the chief spokesperson of the caucus. That's just one example. I cannot be a co-chair of a caucus, and you're going to dedicate a beneficiating plant in Nimba or a major investment program, and the caucus is not on the program officially to speak. But these are people who look at their role as somebody doing favor for them. We are distinct branch of government. You can't go in my country. Those days, and the judge used to say, "Oh, Madam President, did I hear that you're going to Nimba?" I don't know about it. They will cancel that trip until officially the caucus is invited. And you go there, people feel that, oh, so long went. What gave me a break? The $1.4 billion installation there is not adding anything to Nimba country. It's only accelerating the extraction of our mineral resources, and without anything put in place. And so you're supposed to go there and overlook the Nimba people by you not having opportunity for us to speak as caucus. And it's all because some of our big people in government want that to be that way. And those that are being overlooked in that form and manner are not making issue out of it. Let me tell you, Honorable Donald will tell you, the one DK made reference to, when the youth got vexed and burned the bridge in San Nicolas because of that Zuluwi situation, we went there at the Capitol building after one of our friends, Honorable Prince Tokwa, was arrested and taken to Yukepa and dropped in the street. No, that was not me. When we met the president at her office at the foreign ministry, Wally spoke something like you to me. He said, the way you dealt with the president today, some kind of thing happened. I will not say it on this show. That's me. I didn't smoking and say, my man, I've long been seeing you to talk. I didn't know you could talk. Tyler, the same way. He said, when we use Nimba County social development to build our bridge, I said, no way. It is our misgovernance that led to this thing. Our social development fund will not be done to correct, it will not be used to correct the malfunctioning of the central government. That's why when you're arresting a sitting lawmaker and trapping him in the street of Banga. Well, these are the kind of thing we did when we were there. So the caucus got some good people there, but as a leadership, it's zero. Because they have the least person heading them, and because of nobody told me I'm speaking my mind as a politician. So I'm clear on that. The leadership is weak, and they need to do something about that and put some of the people who will command respect.
Thank you.
It's a disgrace that the president of Liberia will go to a place where the vice president and the legislative caucus of the country are not represented as caucus. Because if they are extended invitation, the likes of Musa Ability will be there. The likes of Tai Wangbe will be there. They didn't want that to be. So they just say, invited a few people who had contagiosity with the operation and say, oh, that the people this way, let them come. This doesn't work like that. And if they don't put stop to it, it will continue to be like that. So because of that, the caucus is berated. It's berated. Nothing is happening because of lack of respect from the central government, because they have succumbed to the whims and caprices of the current leadership. That's all I can say.
Thank you so much, Honorable. It is a great conversation as we expected. We are learning a lot, and our panelists are all excited about this conversation. So you say you got a follow-up question? I give you this.
Yeah, just 2 seconds. I'll make use of the CEO. Yeah, Honorable Yonko, thank you very much for the responses. I just wanted to hear from you regarding your exit to the CDC or joining the CMC. Many of your critics may say it was due to your defeat, that you are heading to the CMC to fight the current vice president, who is also a son of Nimba in 2029. And most of your critics will say, right now we got the vice president, and as a matter of leadership, he's now, next in line, if we may, say that. So I just wanted you to clear the air. What, your reason of going to the CMC? Is it that you lost and going down to the CMC to fight?
Oh, well, I think opinions are like noses. Each and every person has his or her own nose, and so it is with their opinion. But opinions are not facts. I don't see if I wanted to come back in politics, why I can't join the vice president so I can be president. I can come back in politics. In life, it is acceptability. You don't go somewhere where you are merely accommodated. You go somewhere where you are appreciated. We give the rescue government 20 months. 20 months. Nobody has ever called us to see whether we have something to offer, especially so when the Unity Party is the one that won my second tenure with, where we made contributions on an annual basis, on a monthly basis. And the last money I spent, which I took to the president's home, the current president's home, a farm in Bama was $1,000 after he had asked us sitting loan because we make contribution to pay all the security at the Congo Town office off so that we can find new office. Took a US $1,000 to his farm along with my granddaughter and my wife. And he said, give it to your chair. And I give it to Honorable Mamramo Fufana at the time, who was the chairman of our caucus. And so we had a camaraderie. Even when I returned from a 10-day trip in New York with the CSW, the Committee on the Status of Women at the United Nations, and I planned along with colleagues upon my arrival, I resigned from Unity Party to go to ANC. I met with the current president one-on-one at his office, and I told him I was leaving. And he told me, Justin Hebdo will not feel good in his grave for you to leave the party that you're affiliated with. And I said, oh man, we're looking for an opportunity where people are active working. We came from election, we are almost 2 years and nothing is happening. We have not even had, a retreat to assess our own pitfalls and our strength. And I believe I needed to go somewhere to be politically active. So the same thing came about. After we had the election, the people won. We have not heard from any other person. And so if I want to come back, I can come back as an independent candidate. I don't have to go to a political party. So the question is not whether or not I want to come back and I'm looking for a political party to join. There's no law that says if you want to come back, you must be part of a political party. If you are saying also that because we have a vice president who is contemplating on becoming president, thereby making it almost a sin for any Nimbayan to go to another political party, or it is on Nimba for anybody to go to another political party because we have a son who is a vice president. And I say it's a fallacy. It is a statement that is embedded in falsehood, or I don't think we can pay a country by being that fallacious. We had Tiawan Gonglo. This is our election. Tiawan Gonglo was running for the presidency of this country, and Kun was running for the vice president of the country. So presidency and vice president, which is heavy. So most of the people gravitated towards the vice presidency. Tiawan Gonglo has not taken any offense to anybody. Okay, when Dr. Wapo was running, Senator Johnson was running for the presidency, nobody made noise. So this whole issue about Nimba interest, I don't see where does our priority lie. Oh, you seen people trooping toward Unity Party simply because the Ome Baga is in power. For all the time they have been trying, the Lufa guy have been very prominent in CDC. Even the current leadership is a Lufian. But yet you had Unity Party that had Lufa pressing at the echelon, the highest echelon. We don't see the kind of noise that people are making around here. So the president and vice president, which is important. Now, the other gentleman that brought his political party is a Nimbayan also. Nimba country is not a one party country. Nimba country is not a political party. And so what instead of you antagonizing, why we can't work together? If you are powerful, maybe you go for a runoff. It's easy to approach folks within the current CMC to join you in the runoff than to antagonize them. Because antagonizing them, saying all kinds of things to them, you're keeping them far away from you. And more so, I'm telling you, as a political person, I think I bring more on the table than people expect. I was supposed to sit down for 20 months, and nobody called me to say, look, this is what I want us to do. And I will be sitting down. Then luckily for me, it is not a different party. And I'm just going to be sending a WhatsApp message to my former political leader, our best friend, Honorable Alexander Cummings, that because of the political complexity of my country, I believe that I can sever relationship with your party now so that I can pay attention to our local politics. All because we don't want Nimba to be the loser completely. And so anybody who says, because I want to make a political comeback, that's why I joined CNC, I don't see it that way. The last time I checked, I took Bronsky into my district and I made him to get number into my country. The last time I checked, I told Kumis there, and the last time I checked, I told Baka there. So normally it is us because of our attachment with our people that take political parties to our district and our country, and not the other way around. Our presence in CNC is making a lot of people to troop towards us because two things: our attractiveness, because of our role in society, and because in every life there is push factor and pull factor. People are being pulled to CMC because of the positive things that they see there, and people are being pushed away from the other parties because of what they expected and they are not seeing it. So I'm standing ready to challenge anybody that says that we are doing something that is peculiar to this political season. No, people have always had candidates. Even when Dr. Koto was running, most of the heavyweights in Nimba County did not support him. So why now? Especially so when some of the people who are leading, the people for which you are telling us not to find another political home, have been in power for 20 months. They have never called us to tell us what role we can play to consolidate against. So I'm sorry to say this. We are in this thing to say we canvass for votes and make sure we take over the leadership of this country through CMC. And if Nimba president on the other side succeeds in becoming president, praise God. It's good. We don't want Nimba to be forgotten about. That's why we are in this thing. It's not about any personal reason. It's all about us putting cross-fertilization of ideas that will make Nimba to always have a key role to play. And that's where we are.
Thank you. I just have a quick follow-up question there, Honorable. Are you saying that the VP, who's the leader, the VP from our country, hasn't called you yet since the end of the election, since they won?
Well, no, he hasn't called me. I called him after he called me. When I talk about serious political discussion, it's about, look, this is the role that I feel we can play. He hasn't done that. It was after he persuaded me to help him run campaign for Tuayen, which I think was a setup, because I've been fighting always, even when I went to Minnesota at the UNESCO program in 2013. I said that the Nimba County senatorial chemistry was not equilibrated. We want to make sure the major tribes are reflected instead of two persons being there. Oh, I made a lot of enemies with Unico people, the likes of John Wanda, or the Papa in Philadelphia. A lot of people fell out with me, but the issue is I was always interested in making sure that the two major tribes in Liberia, or one tribe, dominate the Senate. I made myself clear at the stadium, at the convention. It was not really palatable to most people. So when this one came about, he called me and said, "Oh man, at least your wishes are being done now. So I want you to join us to support Yan Tuayen." So we did that, and Yan won. Also, is from my district. So I called him and said, "But Senator, Mr. Vice President, he sent me to do your work. We are done there. He never even bought gas over here." He said, "Okay, when you come to Monrovia, look for me." My first time going to his office. And then we went there, and he told me about the existence of a consultancy in his office to advise him on data, how they will use the statistics from the census and other data generated by legions and other international organizations, how we can get the best out of it for national development. And saying I was a population scientist and a statistician. So I made myself available. I was there. He ordered a COS to write a couple of numbers. a letter to UNFPA that this is the consultant that you had, and he wrote CSA because I was already paid by two groups, the UNFPA and Liberian government. And since then, that's it. Imagine from April 2024 to now. I'm sorry, we are where we are. And then they want to take a shortcut by not using the census data, but they want to do allocation of seats to county. No, it's unconstitutional. But that is it. So apparently people feel that when we are having such a high-profile job, well, we advise the government of Liberia. I did that for the state of Eritrea. When the war with Ethiopia ended, I went there as a demographer and I straightened that country development plan. A post-war development plan. I went there as a United Nations development demographer, and I went to East Timor. And we also, when the war between East Timor and Indonesia came about, to the end, the United Nations told us that we've done this thing for other countries. Why we can't do it for our country? So the opportunity came for UNFPA to pay money for me, and then the government put a few dollars there for us to help our country. And people are sat down only for a little time. And so it's not about job. I have a farm. My 12 years in power, prior to that, I had a farm and it enabled me to make more where I'm giving job to people even at the low level in my country. And so when people felt that they were blacking us all over, I went on the farm on the Musa ability for me. I don't hold anything against anybody. I'm not a baby. I understand. But nobody ever coming for serious political discussion and say, look, this is Nimba country. Our hands are on the door. We can just press the hinges on and enter the presidency. You come, let's work together. This is the role you can play. And I'm not an immature political person. Some of the statements that we can hear, even on the air, the acrimony between they and the vice president and the senator, I wouldn't go that low with any of them. With all the things that Joseph Mazza did, we never went that far. But this is the kind of thing we have. And that's the kind of people, they're punishing us for not supporting them to produce the other senator. But we even gone far more, they look at their own each other's throat. Is that the kind of thing they wanted us to put ourselves in the midst? So I never be called, and I challenge anybody to say they have invited me to talk serious political talk about the future of Nimba country. Luckily for me, I'm not supporting any other song. I'm supporting a Nimba song who is developing very well. A $1 million bridge, you know what he's talking about? And several other hundreds of thousand bridges all over. Go to Lepula, double bridge is being built there. Go to Ware Bridge that right after Secretary, the one at the lower end, connecting all over. We need to get closer to somebody who has that tenacity, who has that fluidity of development intervention. You know what I mean? For St. John River that you cross in Bon County and Nimba County boundary, below there, just a few miles away, he is constructing another one connecting the 9 and the 1 in Bon County with his own personal resources. Such a president, if he has access to the national budget, he will do more. He will do more. And that's the reason I'm there. So I challenge anybody to appear on this show and see that they have invited me for serious political discussion, and I let them down and I went and joined another song of Nimba country.
Thank you.
I made myself available for 20 months. Nobody called my attention. So the person who found me is the one I'm supporting now, especially when I see it ideologically, we have some commonality.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable. Thank you. Again, it's a great show. As expected, we are learning a lot. It's intellectualized and very, very interesting. Thank you so much so far. Shadrach, we'll come to you with your 2 questions for the Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Sakar. Thank you so much. And good evening to my elder, Yonkwa. How are you, sir?
How are you?
I'm okay. I sat there keenly listening to you. It's been point A to point B, very relatively, very interesting topic. I want to take you back to, I don't call it, for clarity on some of the questions people already asked, but mine is in a different dimension. Like you answered that minority don't have the will in the house, only majority, granted, which you all know. Now, my question is, the 3 branches of government of our governance system, the first branch of government, which is the lawmaking, where you serve for 12 years. Now, you have the power to impinge, you have the power to rebuild and to improve the lives of the people. Where have No, you are defaulted with almost all the presidents, according to you, that made you to join from political party to political party, looking for space that will align with your ideology. Now, were you able, as individual, not a minority or majority, as individual being the lawmaker of your country and also Liberia at large, to write a particular bill or maybe say a bill of impeachment while you see the person was going wrong and against the citizen that bill was rejected? Did you do that? Thank you.
Well, we did not only show disagreement to that state of affairs, but we dramatized it. When our brother Cabinet General was being impeached, we consulted Article 43, which says that the legislature shall prescribe an impeachment law. When they use the word the legislature, it means that there must be a bill introduced, passed on the floor of one chamber and concurred with another chamber. That is the legislature. The same constitution also has a prescription that says each of the chambers shall prescribe their own rules. So the Senate shall have their rule, the House of Representatives shall have their rule. But when they use the word the legislature, it means there must be a law passed into law and published into handbill. As I speak to you, the president of Liberia can decide to do anything. The senator, the representative, any official of government can decide to do anything. There is no way you can impeach them because we don't have an impeachment law in this country. Article 43 had not been accepted. We have not really done anything to it. I don't know whether I'm quoting the right article, that the legislature shall prescribe an impeachment law. When I was preparing to go for my third term, there are a lot of doables that are requested of the legislature that I felt that that term were going to be inundated with those provisions. For example, there must be a claim court. There must be impeachment law. Now you talk about impeachment law to pass it. They will say, oh, you want to impeach the president. We want a law that can impeach public office. The Constitution says we should pass it. We haven't done it. So when we were on the floor, and because CDC says at the time, our Cabinet General differed with the Supreme Court bench when he said there was corruption in the election, but it was not strong enough to overturn the result. Therefore, CDC won, and Cabinet General gave a dissenting opinion to the majority of the Supreme Court bench, so they took it personal with him. That's all they wanted to get at him. So when they brought it on the floor for him to be impeached, we, the Nimba caucus, we said no. We went to Bobo Chima and said, Bobo, there is no law on the floor. There is no law in this country to impeach any public office. And once they may have been brought here, you cannot make a law now to use against him. We call it retroactive. You can't have a law that is going to be retroactively holding somebody responsible when the law was not existing when this crime was committed. And say, no, our mind is made up for this man to go. So you don't like it, whatever you want to do, you'll do it. So we say, okay, we will walk out of the chamber if you send a committee to set up a committee to set up a rule simply for the impeachment of the sitting judge for a decision he took while in his official capacity. So he said, okay, Honorable Gweglo, Honorable Yonkwe, and the colleagues, I will respect your view, whatever you want to do, you do. So when that issue came on the floor, we walked out. We dramatized our disagreement with the malfunctioning of the government, the non-compliance with rule of law. And what happened? We were exonerated. So they impeached the man when he went to Abuja. The court said no. The man was impeached without a law. The Senate had their own rule that they used to impeach the man. We had our own rule that we used to indict the man. And we got exonerated at that level. This is the extent to which a lot of things have gone. So we have not really hidden our own or disenchantment over the malfunctioning of the country. We can be a government, 1986 Constitution, is still here. We haven't changed much. Then, since 23 years after the cessation of hostility and our indulgence in democratic practices, and we still have those wartime strategy like register a voter before it cut constituency, this and that. We have 4 years to election. Let's use the census to cut demarcation, for example. So you are right. There are a lot of things, and we make our views. I always hold a view that the minority will make their noise, but the majority will have their say. And not all the time majority is correct. Majority was right to indict Cabinet General at the level of the lower house. Majority was right at the level of the Senate to impeach him under the gavel of the Chief Justice in line with the Constitution. But when we went to Abuja through the ECOWAS code, they threw everything out and we say, oh, Cabinet General owe money. That's how come he provided his pro bono service or he provided legal service to what? Kufa. Kufa was chairman of judiciary, but he rescinded his participation because he felt that it was illegal for a judge to be impeached for decision he took while he was serving as a judge. So most people thought that it was Kufa who was there. No, Kufa was chairman of judiciary, but he was not included. They set up a special committee headed by the co-chair, Councillor Kano Weso, Ogbapulu. So people say, oh, they see man who impeach you that man. No, Cabinet said, no. Besides that, I'm a lawyer. But this man never took part in what happened to me. So this is it. So there were many times that we did not only disagree, but we dramatized it. We walk out. People say, why it didn't work out? Our working out is as good as our sitting there and voting no. Because whether you stay there or not, when you are out, it means you are voting no. But if you are mirror their man, when you get 37% plus, you have impeached the person. And they did it. It was wrong.
Thank you.
These are just one examples. The second one was that when I feel that the law of Liberia was the PFN law was going against. We went to Supreme Court in our level of the country. And so we never mince our word. We are not the people who will wait until something happened and say, oh, we did it. Then the reason why you did it and the way you did it, nobody saw it. But we were trying to be very practical in our approach to issues.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you. Abby, you hear me?
Yeah, hear you.
Okay, so we let's say we have 27 minutes with the old man now, so we will take one question each. So if the old man want us to extend, let's extend that. But at least we go almost 2 hours with him. That put it at 10:30 is time. Like he said, he will be on another show tomorrow, so we can respect him so that he will be happy to come back here. So Shadrach will ask a question. Chris, Arlene, and Kelewo, you can put all your questions together and make it one, so he can ask to leave. Maybe he want to extend our time, but that gave him at least 2 hours to be with us.
It looks like Shadrach already left there. So we'll go to Alvin to ask his question.
All right. Hello, Honorable Yonkwa, my own father-in-law.
How is that?
You want me to go there, Gary, yet?
Good. Yeah. All right. Alvin's all here. So my question has to do with your relationship with the current vice president after this very contested 2023 elections. What is your current personal relationship when it comes to the vice president? And secondly, let me just bug my question when you can just answer at once. You also spoke of the issue of you going to CMC currently. You've been in leadership for 12 years. Everybody has, elaborated on their past deliberations. But education, healthcare, the poverty rate, road connectivity still remain a major constraints in Liberia. What is the plan of CMC to target these different sectors?
Thank you, son-in-law. And I hope my daughter is okay.
She's doing great.
The vice president and myself do not have any personal beef. As a matter of fact, he calls me Papi. I passed for his father anyway, given the age difference. And he highly respect even my own experience. That is up to that. But politically, the fact that he is in such a lofty position and we have never been invited up to this time shows that there must be some political differences. Because if I would die for Nimba County. There were people in political parties, the CDC, who were playing key roles during the campaign. Some of them were legal counsel to the campaign team, but they were serving as commissioners of good governance or governance commission, along with our brother, my junior brother, Councillor Yilu, who was chairman of that commission. And they were just few months added to the party and played the role of one of the chairpersons of the campaign. But after everything, some of those people that were serving key role in the campaign were retained on those commissions, while our brother who just went for 3, 4 months, 6 months were ejected. Those things are not good for me. When I'm somewhere, I should be able to make case for our people. So that's just one example. And so, what more about us who were just loaned or were just asked by CDC to run their campaign in our country? Most of the people who play that role have been called by this government and they're working. But yet, we have never been called by our people. So, when it comes to political things, I think we are not really on the same wavelength. But personally, I don't have a problem with him. I got a number, he got my number. When he calls me, I answer. But when it comes to political consideration, we have never been able to really sit on the table to discuss the future of our country. But individually, he says he likes my business because I'm a truth teller. But not for you, I would say I'm not for you. But I don't pretend. So the way we are, he's my good brother from the country. But politically, they are on a different divide. So I found myself on a different divide. But the good thing is his presence there is helping us a lot. I can account for some of them. But equally so, we can only sustain it if they broaden the scope to involve other people who want to contribute. And so anybody who wants to see why we went, where we are going, that person has me to contend with, because we challenge each other from place to place until the right thing is hammered in the ears of our people that we can't run country by just being on one foot. So now it's good to be on the other foot. What was your other question?
The additional question was, being the expert in the statistics and all the different area of expertise, what do you envision that CMC is going to bring to the table when it comes to education, when it comes to healthcare?
Yes.
Our health.
Oh, yes. Thank you. My role that I play at the level of the executive for almost 21 years at the Ministry of Planning and Economic Affairs was to put human face to national development. And so when the government of Liberia wanted to be a two-lane road from Red Light to Ganta or Bikena to Sistos, Sano, blah, blah, blah. Our role at the Ministry of Planning was to give the demographic analysis of that road. What are the population that are going to be served? And of course, in every scenario, you got to look at the spatial distribution of the population, meaning that where are they heavily populated? What is the density of that place? The age distribution of the population, the 0 to 5 years, okay, the 55 to 15 years, which is child, adolescent, and youth, and then the 15 to 34 years, and the 65 plus year. All of those age brackets have implications, especially for female from 15 to 50 years or 49 years, that's the reproductive age. So if you have this population dichotomy well analyzed, then you can be advising the government as to where to locate hospitals. And if you locate hospitals, what are the services that need to be there? And if you want to put schools there, you want to talk about whether it's nursery or elementary or junior or senior high, depending on the age bracket. And also these are things, of course, if you want to build hospital, the kind of drugs you carry there, you better carry some diabetes and hypertension medicine there because of the age categories that you find there and in what quantity. And so Ability has a lot of money through the Ability Development Funds that is distributing, is helping with development in all the places. But having a political party now that has had a vast chair that is responsible for data analysis, that is informing planning, obviously we'll be making those analyses. If you want to build a big bridge that costs $1 million, but it's serving sparsely populated area, it would be another consideration. Whether a ferry can be placed there and that bridge can be redirected somewhere that is heavily populated. And you want to build a high school in an area that bulk of the people are located within the lower echelon of the age bracket. Those pieces of advice will be given. And so this is it. Luckily for all, he's already doing it without doing no analysis. So he brought us on board. And now the party is going to take over some of the political the development initiatives. And as you do so, this analysis will be done. We only need to plug a button from the soft copy of some of the publications from census and other databases. And then we inform the party as to how they carry on development. This is what we call systematic development. So you don't take a knee-jerk decision when it comes to providing services to our people. Every service you provide will be done from an informed position. And he has the resources, but sometimes you can put an average tower development somewhere where it was referred to it as the ability development there. But when you put a project somewhere that is called what we call manifest necessity, it's something that the people are yearning for, you will not even complete it, the people will start using it. It has school in building, by the time you put it even no flow, and school in seven, the people will be sitting there. When they come and say, you go outside, let me put flow here, you come. But when the people are thinking of something else and you're going to place different things there, that white elephant development, that building will sit there and fall down later on, it will not be utilized. And we don't want those kind of things to be done. So if we did it for Eritrea and East Timor, we can do it for Liberia. So that's why they brought me on board. So this is how I think the development that he will want to do from the perspective of his personal foundation as well as his political party, which we can replicate later on as a government. The role I play is like a finance minister, a minister of finance and development planning in waiting in a parliamentary system where you have the opposition is a government in waiting. You got shallow minister of planning, shallow minister of health, shallow minister of defense. And so this is the role we play. What we might be advising government if we were to win is what we are trying to do now. You don't just do development on a political basis, but sometimes the political basis must also have reason to jive with national reality. So that's the role I intend to play as a statistician and a politician as that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know my Peking Chris has been leaning one side, just waiting to ask his question. So Chris, we'll move over to you so you can ask your question before we go to Calabo.
My last question.
Thank you. Nyako, how you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay, thank you. As DK said, I have my questions together, then you just answer one. I remember when I was in Liberia, you was one person who stood for the people of Nima when it comes to their resources to get their benefit for the national cake. And now we see that there's a law in Nima, the local government act. I think you have experience on it. That the country leadership now takes, responsibility or control over the budget for the country. And in recent time, we see the superintendent in Nimba using the people of Nimba money to, renovate government institution that the central government is supposed to be responsible for. Now the people of Nimba money to be used on that. And you've been one of the tough talker lawmakers we have before in Nimba. Looking at that situation now in Nimba, the superintendent only taking control using our finances on the national government, project in Nimba to use our money to be, to renovate those areas. What is your take on it? And my last question before I leave, you are part of the CPP, and the Unity Party was also part of the CPP. A lot of it broke out. Do you think that the CPP was being used by Unity Party to come to power? If yes, what's the reason? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take the first question first. As a matter of fact, out of the 12 years I spent at the legislature, I was on the Committee on Governance and Government Reform. After the 3 years, Akara Grade decided to decline the chairmanship. and I've served the last 9 years as chairperson of that committee. It was during our time that the much heralded Local Government Act was passed. I can very much remember that Odolie was the emissary between Dr. Sawyer and myself when the colleagues on the floor didn't want that law to pass because they were talking about electing superintendent and commissioners. And most of the people felt that if superintendent were elected, they should be so independent and they won't respect the elected officials. That's why So when I said this, then Dr. Sawyer said, okay, because go there, let the people pass it the way it is. The one that are constitutional. Besides that, it was also constitutionally grounded that you could not use a statute to replace constitutional provision. So election of superintendent had to be done through referendum before it's incorporated in the constitution. What am I saying? If anybody should know more about the Local Government Act, it should be me because I was chairing the committee at the level of the lower house. So I know exactly why it was contemplated. But what is seen in NIMBA now, yes, a lot of accelerated development going on, but there's something called effectiveness and efficiency. Not everything that is effective is efficient. Yeah, effective is doing the right thing, and efficiency is doing things right. There might be something right done, but it's not being done rightly. The contemplation of taking the county caucuses of the determination of what to do with the money so that you can set up a county council was not to obliterate the role of the legislature in providing oversight. It's either you furnish them what had been agreed upon, they all know about it, so that if you go against it, you can do what we call evaluation by objective. How does the man provide oversight when he does not have the objective in his hand? So our budget is being run in secrecy based on what I'm hearing from them. Because he said, oh, the county council that will be 9, currently have only 7. Because the 2 that will come from civil society are never yet being identified. So they go there and approve of money that the superintendent does not inform the caucus about it, and they just using it. One classic point is in my district. The chairman of the caucus, who happened to say me now, who replaced me, was finishing a project that I started in Walla. According to him, he started with a 35,000, which he brought from the Capitol building. When he discovered that it was more, he went to the superintendent. The superintendent gave him $50,000, and he can't just give it to his own contractor. And whereby there is a PFM law, the Public Financial Management Law in Liberia, that any month more than 10,000 will be done through competitive bidding. And so if you were carrying on project and you felt sure you went to the country, they just dish out 50,000 and give it to you, and you start implementing project. And even the superintendent, the Sanitary Superintendent office in Sanglepe City, they are renovating that guest house into a presidential palace. It's also given to a company that is allegedly owned by Semiana. So these things are all over the country. So apparently something effectiveness is taking place, something right is being done, but it's being done efficiently, meaning that rule of law is not being followed and has tend to be corrected. That's why even our political leaders say, look, I mean, we can't change an entrenched situation. People who have made up their mind to do things their own way, we cannot change them. The only thing is to take over the leadership and change it. So myself, I'm not happy. The level at which development is going on is good, but it is not the right way. Like the whole superintendent compound in Monrovia, in Sanigole, is being transformed. But these are money that's supposed to be budgeted in the national government. Our iron ore money supposed to be used to open our interior. These cities are being beautified, while Banda clinics stay waiting for mattresses from public officials, floor mat in the delivery room, tires in the delivery room, a lot of places. And so if this money can be directed to those places instead of just using it on every tower project in a city center, I think it would play well. I tend to be corrected. That's why when I was brought into the mainstream politics of late, I said we come to keep ourselves busy. Yeah, so you are right. The county city was replaced by county council, but it did not obviate the fact that the legislature needed to be consulted. And what I'm hearing from them is that they don't know what is happening. That's why it's tempting them to even bring law on the floor to make sure they can amend that law. People who have their own reason, they are saying that, oh, we don't want the legislature to come back again to come monopolize. No. Equally so, in as much as we want a very minimum role to be played by the legislature as to where the money should go, so it cannot be used by them to run campaign against those that want to come. Equally so, I think it is their right to be informed. So what we needed to know was that when the legislature, when the county council takes decision and identify projects and allocate the resources, there must be a conduit through which the legislature shall be informed at the caucus level, and so that they will be able to monitor. But as it is, look at the beautification of the crossing point between Bon and Nimba. Hotels are being built, fences are being built, a lot of things are being done, whether it was budgeted before and the rest of it. And so these are the issues. So you are right, but equally so, I think there must be a way of coordinating the role of the legislature with that of the county council. Otherwise than that, people will use our money to make themselves to appear good, so that during election they can point to it as a political party that this is what we did when we were here. So that is it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable. You've
Thank,
been here.
thank you. Alvin, is that Kelewo the last person we have?
Yeah, coming to him. Coming to him.
So I have my one question on CEO. Don't join me at all.
Hold on, guys.
You're going to ask question.
You ask your question after Kelewo, but Moses Sandy is on the phone and he wanted to ask his question. Moses, are you hearing us? Hello? Are you guys hearing Moses Sandy?
No, we're not hearing.
Okay, Moses, can you ask a question quick? Yes.
Without hearing him.
Moses,
sorry.
you want to change your location, please?
Sorry, D, we're not hearing. Let's move on to Kelewo. Kelewo, you can ask your one question.
All right, thank you. I think the phone failed Moses Sandy because he is an irrational tribalist. I think that's why the phone failed him. I will make this statement publicly, and I want to take a debate with Moses Sandy. But let me ask my question. And before I ask my question, I'll make a quick comment. I listened to Honorable Larry Youngquay. We are all Nimbayans, and we boast of Nimba having brains, Nimba having academic people who have studied a lot and experience. When Larry Youngquay and I worked in East Timor on the UN mission, you was in different location, I was in different location. But some of the things that the Sultan is doing in Nimba is the old development model. Many countries have gone away from that, and we're following it because procurement has money. There is no need. Why you go say to Baila, you say you're building on a presidential resting place, or you want to build something presidential palace, Tabata. But another development, look, why not encourage local entrepreneurs to build hotels? When presidents travel outside the country, they sleep in hotels. The hotel is sleeping at private individual hotels. They pay money. So you promote local economy by encouraging people to build hotels. When the president go there, they sleep there. That whole thing of taking public fund and cater to one single citizen. The president and all of us are all equal. The only difference is that he or she has authority at a particular point. So the taxpayer give them money, travel Padan. They use that and pay for hotel in Nimba. Even currently, when President Boaga goes to Ganto, where does he sleep? In hotel, and it's paid for, which support the local economy. So we should not go with that model. I actually disagree with that approach, but that's not the main crux of my question. We can debate that another time. Honorable Youngquay, I have a question. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, I have a question I want to take on you and the caucus. There are a lot of Nimbayans who have an argument. They say the Vice President Kun, the late Senator Prince Johnson, I don't want to put him much there because he's no longer with us, including other former representatives. There is an argument that Nimba has given more to them than they have given back to Nimba. And this argument comes at the heels of what Musa Bility is doing in Nimba. Musa, without power, he moved into the former Representative Roger Doma home that he never traveled from Seglepie directly to his home and built a bridge that cost more than $700,000. And now under that bridge, he built other bridges, structural light, built roads, and the people lending the power. And he's become like a missionary, moving from district to district, county to county, with his money, not taxpayers' dollar. So that argument is on the table. While some people are saying, hey, some of these guys who are talking that because they are Gil or Mana, we must follow them, we've given them more than they're giving back to the county. They're taking more from the county, but they want us to continue to blindly or support them. I don't know. What do you say about that argument, Honorable Yongwe? Is that a fair argument to make against former lawmakers and current leaders of the country? That's one. And I'll add this one there. There is also two schools of thoughts emerging in Nimba. There's one school of thought that says Nimba must produce president. Whether that role, whether that door, that cat, it must just be Nimba president. And there's other school of thought that say Nimba is part of Liberia. Nimba is now a country. If we're going to produce a president, that desire a president that meets the gold standard of what Liberians aspire for. Liberians aspire for a visionary leader who is far-sighted, who will be like President Torba, who will invest in education, in everything we see, who will be far-sighted, very articulate, a good, well-bred person who will have the characteristics that will come close to other visionary leaders around the world or on the African continent. So that's the kind of person we want. So that school of thought is emerging in Nimba. I don't know which one Honorable Yongwe belong to. Whether it belong to the group that say, whether they met a role, whether they met a Sulan in Nimba will go. Or this other school of thought say, look, we must be careful. It doesn't have to just be because Nimba, coming from Nimba should not be a qualifying criteria. The qualifying criteria should be other issues that fit the characteristics of a good leader for Liberia. That's what we should look at. Where do you stand on that?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I will take it in the order in which it came. As to whether there are some elected officials of the country that the country has given more to than they have been able to give to the country, I do agree. I do agree. And some of the much heralded leaders, including our own late senator and even our own current vice president, the development that people are hailing them for which they are giving them the leadership by default, are all development that are not something that is benefiting the entire country. You know, like the hospital the current vice president built in Ganta is something that he's benefiting from immensely. The fact that he even maintained the name, though government are taking over, but he said they should maintain the name, and that name is legacy. And I don't know about the pecuniary benefit that are accruing. Of course, we know that budgetary allotment will be made on a regular basis when it was say even in the hand of the owner, which is a public record that millions of dollars, thousands of dollars were being directed at the construction and maintenance of the institution when it was built. And so how can you tell the person that he is developmental when he is using public resources because of proximity to the resources to build an infrastructure, and then you want to call it something that is developmental? The only person that qualified to be called a development man is the most ability man that we are trying to be behind, because he's using millions of dollars to construct roads, bridges, and intervening. Just a few days, the man went to Uganda market and gave $1 million to the women just initially, plus one pickup. Today he donated almost $50,000 to the money changers in 2 groups of money changers in Kanta yesterday. And many things. Even in my own home, just by coming to visit me, he brought 60 pieces of solar light. And don't tell me the man is just doing it to become president, because it's something he did all the development before becoming representative. And that's one example. So to me, even the university our old man built, yes, but it is in his family need. So they're not development you could say you want to use as a yardstick for making somebody to be considered a godfather or to make somebody accelerated position in society, because it's still attached to the personal enhancement of the man and his family. So to me, that's not it. You look at so many things. There's none of the 75 towns in my district you will reach there, you don't see a foundation or you will not see a structure that we try to build with the community. None is bearing our name. It's not a private school. It's not a private clinic. It's not a private road. That's selflessness. But where you do it and concentrate it in your name and your legacy will last forever, and you say the very is developmental, and we check there, government resources have been directed to it. To me, I don't think that's the kind of thing that we need to know whether the president is a good leader or not. When it comes to whether I subscribe to the fact that once the president is from Nimba, the president should be president. No, I don't see it that way. We have come a long way. There are people that will vote for them anytime if I see them in a runoff, because they know exactly what the country needs. And so, unfortunately, we have not reached a point where the people will look at the ideas that the people are propounding. They're looking at the number, and the number too, by accident, has been ascribed to certain people. And whether you like it or not, CDC getting a raise, it already show a certain number. Whether you like it or not, United Party getting a raise, show a certain number. And they do look at it, they just regurgitate what they take in. They are not critical in analyzing what made these people what they are. And that's why CMC is here to break that trajectory, at least at the level of the country. People should be critical now. And that's the kind of thing we'll be on for the next few years. I mean, until we can get to the place. There are people in this country that any day I can wake up and vote for them because I know they will know what to do with the leadership. But unfortunately, they don't have the number. And somebody who has consistently decided to put plans into place to make sure the number can be gravitated towards him, I think we can help that person so they can help to change the trajectory. So you are right. Not every Nimbayan is worth to be president. We got to weigh them based on their intellectual capability, their decorum, their character, and the rest of it. But to just say, so long you from Nimba, go Nimba, see, that's not what we're here for. And all of us, luckily for us, some of the people we are supporting are also Nimbans. And so this is all I can say about what you said. Thank you.
Thank you, Honor. And that's a nonsense argument. I mean,
Thank you so much. You've been here for over 2 hours, 34 minutes now. We want to say thank you so much to you. No, you took up your time. You made schedule for us. You listened to Deez and myself call. You came on time. 4 o'clock, you were in studio. I want to personally say thank you so much. And we look forward to hosting you here in the future. We hope you are not just a stranger here. This is your late uncle's platform. So let's patronize it. So with that being said, we will give you 2 minutes to give your parting statement, and then we'll call it a day for you.
Thank you, Sega. I must say that I'm honored, and you remind me of your late father, and we can work together to make sure the relevant changes come about. I want to also thank the panelists for being so courageous enough to also ask some soul-searching questions. We are flexible. Once we are in politics, we have thick skin. And so if you are going deeper than you did, we will say appreciate it. But that's the only way our views will be placed at the disposal of the Liberian people for analysis through such and well-established outlets such as yours. So myself, I'm standing by anytime, as long as I'm in a place. If even I'm up country for a week or two and you are called, I will find my way to a place like Ganta or Kokopa where the network is stronger because of the availability of the network. Because those ones that we use in Flumba and Gipo are just something very faint. It's not strong enough to hold such a lengthy discussion. So otherwise than that, like you said, the network is available to us equally. So my services are available. Any topical issues, and then latest information in the country that you want to have my perspective, either as an individual or as an executive or CMC, I'm available to help to ensure that we inform our people properly, so that the next time, 2029, they will make an informed decision based on what they know and at their disposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable. You have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. That was the voice of Honorable Larry Youngquay, who show up and answer questions and had a really great discussion there with us. So I want to say thanks to him, thanks to our listeners too for hanging around, and thanks to all of you, all our panelists. So I know usually what we do is after our guests leave, we stay behind for our post analysis, where we ask each person one question with their closing thoughts for the day, and then we can climax our show. So DK, I will start with you because the babysitting never give you a chance to ask questions.
Even though you teach me, don't ask my last question. I thought 2 times you're not deny me. No problem. Let's move on.
I've been taken from Shadra, then Shadra will go to Kelewo like that. Then Kelewo, that error, they ain't be there for it.
No head of this thing, talk show. Go by your head. No head of this thing.
What you say?
Go by your order.
All right, Shadrach, go ahead. What's your closing analysis there?
All right. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to Honorable Youngquay coming to answer all our questions, even though not everything will answer correctly, as expected. So he did well. He's a sitting politician, well-educated woman from Nimba. I have respect for. He's also head of my church. Also respect him as my elder. But I had to differ with him in some cases where he think other development as personal development, and those people who he also referred to that development as personal development, they also did a lot of development in the county, not in their name, schools and other things, hospital. They contributed immensely towards these developments in the county that is not in their name. Besides that, the one he referred to as personal development that citizens for Nimba also, even library at large, benefiting from this infrastructure. The hospital in Ganta is one of those where even people from the constituent district 8 massively take treatment at a time free of charge. So to refer to as positive development, now it doesn't consider development as he is a disservice to his schoolie at the time. But again, that's the politics, and people in the political space, they will not praise their opponent. That's that I see it. But all it's a good show. We look up to other people to give that analysis. That's my own personal analysis on his deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Lorena for her post analysis. What's your take? What do you think about the honorable's interview and interaction with us today?
Yes, thank you, Theo. First of all, tell the honorable thank you for taking off his time to be our guest tonight. He was choosing to not come, but the fact that he came, I want to say thank him. And I want to also say thanks for attempting to answer some of the questions and for using all his terminology in statistics to confuse us while trying to answer some of the questions, yet he did not arrive at answers because there were no answer for them. Because, for example, the honorable said the reason why he leaves, he leaves from one party to another political party is because political party, the manifesto does not reflect in the budget. Let's take, for example, Liberty Party. Has Liberty Party ever come to power? No. ANC, they will come to power. No, so I think it's not about what is in the budget for the people. It's about what a particular political leader has to give to the honorable man. That's the friend thing about it, because all the people you're affiliated with, except for the UP, they have never been to power. So how will you predict, unless you are sure that okay, these people when they come to power wouldn't reflect much in the budget what they say will be. So I think it's about what the honorable can get from a particular political leader. Because, for example, he said 20 months he waited to get a call from the honorable vice president, and he didn't get that call. He went on his phone, and honorable ability phone him. So I'm like, in my mind, so does that mean when the vice president reach out to you, direct or indirectly, are you not going to count because now there's a serious political discussion? So if your reason for joining a political party is based on because you did not get something, then you shouldn't be taken serious in that political party. And I also want to say, Vice President Kun have done a lot of development in Nima as a representative and senator and now vice president. In district, when he built a lot of schools, even in Ghana, the honors of the JWPSC, and none of those things, they can change the name. The name remain as the word. The reason the ENJ hospital has the name of his daughter and his mother is because it was inspired by his daughter's health condition. He has said it openly, repeated it, and Honorable Yonko knows that. But like Chedra said, he tried to play politics, so you want to think the good thing that the Honorable Vice President has done. But if we check in District A, where my mother comes from, Honorable can only show up anything that he did outside government funding that he can say, this is what I did to my people. So for me, I think Honorable Benedict need to be careful with a lot of people that he's recruiting, because some of them, they are coming because he's dishing up cash. But if honestly you just hold on to the cash and see where they are coming, because you ask them to come to help you to plan and to see how you can serve, you will see that anybody can get them. And that's all I like to say. And another thing, my time is over, but just 30 seconds. I don't know if Mr. Gonglo is a panelist or a guest. If he's a panelist, I think the way he responded to one of our caller or somebody that was on the phone, it doesn't reflect well. For we the panelists here, we're not here to be attacking people when they are calling the travelers with this and that. So if Mr. Gonglo is a panelist of this show, so I think maybe
we can discuss that in house. We can discuss that in house.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So to clarify the question about getting calls from the VP, I asked the question. I asked Honorable Yonkoi, and he clarified. I think the clarification was that he has not gotten any serious political call related to political discussion where they will sit and talk about this is the direction of Nima County. This is what we want to do. I think that's what he meant when he said he hasn't received any call. So I just wanted to clarify that, because I was the one asking the question, and he made that clarification. But thank you, though. It's a great point that you made. So we'll move on to Mr. Kelebo to get his post-analysis closing statement.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sika. Let me firstly just address myself quickly to Lorena point. Lorena, I respect your view and I respect your opinion. I'm not new to being a panelist. I've been panelist on, in fact, I am panelist on Focus on Library, FOL, the closing argument, and other platforms. We panelists, we are just provided a space to basically share our opinion. What we say may not necessarily be facts. That's our opinion. Like you just said, Honorable Yonkoi, they answer some of the questions because you look for certain things. But Honorable Yonkoi's perspective, he did answer the question appropriately. And it's open for debate, because maybe you want certain things to be said, and he feel the all of it around. So yes, so when panelists come on the platform, the view they express, it represents them, not the platform. and they take full responsibility for that. Moses Sandy used to live in Philadelphia, so I know him. In recent time, he wrote, he's not my friend on Facebook, he wrote something very nasty out of nothing on my family. So he tried to make call, and that's why I responded that way. And it reflects on me, not on the platform. That said, I would say this. There's a reason why I asked those questions to Honorable Yongwe. I'm one of those who believe that we have to look at the history of advocacy in Liberia. If you look at the fight against the hegemony of the TWP, if you rewrite the history, even if you read that book by Dr. Timothée, Democracy, you see the likes of D.K. Wonselier, Dr. Nyankwa Tayo, and others named in that book. You see Lanko in that book probably 100 times, because the Lanko Man Worker Union was a foundation or one of the strong unions that supported Moja. NIMBA has been the cradle and pedal of resistance to autocratic leadership, to anti-democratic tendency. In recent years, it seems like the new generation of advocates, they have a different mindset. We need to set a new standard. And that new standard is a race to ground zero. Let's go for the worst among us, the least among us. So long you say you're from NIMBA, let's go for that. You don't have to meet the criteria, an ideal criteria for leadership. Let's just go for that. And I disagree with that mindset. And that's one of the reasons why, that's one of the motivations I go on different platforms, particularly when it's uniquely NIMBA platform, to take this argument there. Because we have to be a pace settler. We have to set the standard. NIMBA must set the standard. When we argue that where goes NIMBA goes Liberia, it means NIMBA must set the gold standard for the best leadership. We cannot go for the worst. NIMBA can say we're going to institute anti-corruption policy, we're going to institute this, we're going to institute that, then we'll go for any other person, that we can defend on many other issues. So it's my argument, and I believe in it. And I'm one of those who also argue that the question I asked on Yongwe is actually my opinion, that if you look at the elected officials of NIMBA from 2006, in many instances, they've taken more from NIMBA because they use the need of the country to elevate them in Monrovia than they've given back to NIMBA. When we talk of development, Lorena, Honorable Yongwe was right. If you do anything in the United States that we panel our government through, Congress people here don't have their private hospital. Anything you do comes from the tax dollar, it must be for the public. If you build something, maybe there is something you don't know. I'll put the Buzu on record on this one. You're the Inam people, there are Inam people here, they will know. When Jeremiah Kun built out a private hospital and he was co-chair on Ways and Means Committee, do you know what he did? They reduced the allocation of the Ganto Methodist Hospital. They reduced the money that was going to the inner school there, how they call that, Christian College, and they gave more money to go check those year budget. The records are there because this is only the Buzo. Katolawake even spoke on platform opening. Okay, his opening of private hospital affected allocation of Ganto Hospital and the Christian College. In fact, they didn't get the money they were to get from government that year. And he had the poor happy because he's on a board. I think you're board chair or co-chair of the board. I know this fact because I talked to these are things we debated, we discussed. I will stop there.
Thank you, Mr. Gongo. Thank you so much.
So Alvin, Mr. Gongo said something about Moses Sandy. So we have to call Moses Sandy to clarify, so that he can't just go like that. So I have called Moses.
Please do.
Yeah, Moses, are you there? Okay. Are you guys hearing him?
No,
Yeah,
we're
speak
not
louder.
getting him.
We can hear.
We're not getting him.
Moses. Okay.
What kind of phone you get, my man?
We're not getting him.
No, we can't
Maybe
hear.
we can have Moses.
Okay.
We can send a link.
Send,
Okay,
send
Moses,
Moses a link.
I'm sending you the link to come.
Yeah, send a link. Yeah.
The reason is BKS is an objective platform, so people who are narrow-minded, their phone can work on this platform. That's the reason. Let you come in the studio.
Abi, you can continue until Moses John. I just saying.
All right, so Siote, you want to give your closing statement?
Yeah, CEO, thank you. And good evening to Mr. Gonglo. I mean, it was a good show for the fact that the honorable way, accept our invite. And he's actually excited for being on the show. And he also commended the team for the work we do here. We also want to appreciate him. I mean, he's a state man and an older man that I got high respect for, coming from a very decent background. The inland folks don't produce kekele. So, I mean, we are very proud of most of them. So, Ono Yonkwa is a firebrand intellectual anyway.
So what you say about the Methodists? Because Doma is here.
Those guys are inherently, I don't know how to describe that church now, but anyway, it's a biblical thing, so that yeah. So I mean, it was a good show, but I took key thing from on those young quests, regardless, of our political ideology, I think young quest, like he said, he waited for 20 months. Before making decisions. I think he saw that he needed to be communicated with. Somebody said, I don't know.
The guest that just joined has to mute his mic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's why I asked Yonkwe regarding his move to the CMC. What triggered him move? Because obviously, if we're going to ask him some question, like he spoke of the current legislative caucus leadership, and all of that. I think in my mind, the reason he left, he was not, they could not place call to him, maybe like bring him closer, like he said in his words. Major communication, are not being placed to him. So I think he's open up for discussion. That's what I see. I know Yonkwe is a firebrand person. I know that the conversation will shift at the point where, like he said, politics, people can align and realign. So I don't think it's late. Once the NIFO is done, he will do. But the show tonight, when we ask the question, we don't expect the guest to answer the way we want him to answer. But as a matter of fact, he answered the way he could answer in his wisdom. So it was good. But a little bit defaulted with him when he said the hospital, in Ganta, the E&J hospital, it was built. But I think the reason for Honorokun being that hospital, I'm not actually a spokesperson for him, but from the record, for why he said turning over that hospital to the government of Liberia was proud to his, his daughter illness, and then what he went through, and then the role his mother's play, and all of that. For example, like, and the CEO have the BKS, and in Butu. So it's just there to maintain the legacy of of his family and the stewardship to the district. I think he should be accorded that respect, and I mean what he gave back to the society. Then others who are even working government, serve as ministers, upon ministers, other positions in local government in the country, and they are not doing anything in the country. The only thing they boast of today, they are served in government. So I think he need to be appreciated, for that level. So sometimes when the politics is there, but let's speak out the truth to serve the public the right one. So I mean, CEO, it was a good show. We hope to be here tomorrow. Thank you.
One thing I noticed, all of you guys don't want to give me credit, even though I'm not host.
But I said, from the beginning, I said thank you.
You're
No,
doing
from the
well.
beginning, I said thank you. That's why I started
Let
with
me
thank
clap
you
for the
very much
CEO.
for hosting the show today in the absence of the
Officer, I
host.
want to thank
You
you because
explained
you
well.
gave my question.
Yeah, because you know, I was not even ready for it. The host, our host, both of them, they show up, so I had to go stand up on
It,
your. But anyway, I think it was a good show.
at least
Moses is
now that we
Moses is
follow your old man, now that we follow your old man history, is a natural thing that you didn't have to get prepared for.
yeah. Oh yeah, the old man he was a great journalist. So that was natural. I got a funny story about that. I'll tell you after this show. But yeah,
Okay.
Moses is trying to join us, but I think it keeps going off and on. And no, our show is almost finished actually. So I don't know. I
So
don't know if we can.
then let me conclude quick. Since,
Yeah, conclude with your item. DK.
okay, let me say
Before you conclude, let me tell
thanks.
DK. DK. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let me say everybody has said thanks to the former representative and current executive of the CMC for joining. I know and that was part of my expectation that he would have been very impressive with his outspokenness, and most especially when he speaks towards data and statistics. That is something that he has handled for a couple of years, so he was on top of the game. But unfortunately, Honorable Yonkwe could not clearly articulate articulate why he has to consider the CMC. And that I said, and he himself he openly said that even at the time we had not started asking. Imagine, since the end of the war in Liberia, every election, this would be a new record that Honorable Yonkwe should be noted for, and the public should put that should tag it on him. It should be pinned on him. Every election since 2005, every election Honorable Yonkwe is with different parties. And 2029 going to be a fifth political party he will support. So what specific agenda, what principle you're not finding all of the other parties that you keep, moving around? And like Andy Lorena and everybody said on the show, if it was about budget being aligned with national development priority, for 12 years he was there as a representative. He couldn't state, even though we all understand that the legislature is concerned with number, but the former lawmaker stated occasions on which they have public disagreement with the House leadership, but he could not on other issues, but he could not state any public record where the issue of huge benefit, they made suggestion that it should be slashed, and they were not listened to. The former representative could not clearly tell us, at what point in time, he ever suggested through the House of Representatives that a budget, give certain priorities or consider certain development priorities aspect from, as per his understanding development study and statistics. So again, he went on to contradict the entire thing when he said he had to wait for 20 months. So you can tell there's ethics issue which borders on a character and other things. But politics being as it is. And just to conclude, sometimes I really like how Mr. Kedabo Gomblo gets very emotional whenever the name of the vice president and former, our foreign senator, Senator Johnson's names are mentioned. He gets so emotional, and he lost everything. To a point, I think Mr. Gomblo, I want Mr. Gomblo to join us, because for a long time, not only that elected officials, most of the elected officials are not given back much. They are not given much to the county. I also want Mr. Gomblo to agree with me that appointed officials as well, in most cases, they are not given back to the county. Mr. Gomblo, there are some point in time he was in government. The very time his elder brother, Councillor Gomblo, was an appointed official. His sister as well was appointed official. So what can the county point to that it gave back? So it's not just about people being elected. I think it's a fine discussion that I'm waiting for us to have, and let also consider appointed officials. For many years, we've been talking about implementation of past audit report on the NIMBA, the usage of the NIMBA County and Social Development Fund. And our
Yeah.
GSC report clearly articulates that, you know, there were financial malfeasance under the leadership of Madam Gonklo Way.
Thank you,
For
Prentice. I
every time
know.
we raise the issue, they say the statute of limitation. So it's a very fun debate that I really look forward to date and time that we can schedule for us to have the conversation here. Thank
That's
you.
one thing.
BKS. I think we're doing a closing. I think Prentice has added some new argument to this. I know we can debate
Now,
another
argument. Not debate now.
time. If need be, I can make a passing comment on that. I don't shy away from debate.
Right, I totally get that, but we have, you know, like
I know
said,
you have a lot of time. You got time
And let
constraint.
Moses come in with a comment.
Moses, you're first. So,
y'all hold on, guys. So we were about to close.
Yeah,
There was
mute
some
it.
statement that was made. That our brother Moses wanted to come on here and kind of clarify a few things for us to close. But Mr. Gongo, what I would suggest is, you know, you're a panelist. I think I talked to you before and you consented. What Prentice talked about, that's great discussion. I think we all should be happy to have. One of those days that we don't have guests on here, or we can even use 1 hour, allocate 1 hour to that discussion, or we can even do that on Tuesday for all of us to have that discussion before we bring anyone. But I will stop here for now and ask brother Sandy to make his point before we close out.
God. Yeah, but let me just clarify that during the week, Monday to Friday, because of my
Busy?
job, I leave school, I leave work by 4 o'clock. So, I mean, that's
So
when you guys start job.
we can do Saturday.
Yeah.
We can schedule next weekend. We'll schedule next
Weekends
weekend.
are my best time. No.
Okay, we'll do that. Brother Sandy, let's hear from you.
Some foolish person. I don't know what the heck is going.
Yeah, I think Brother Sandy is having issues with his
That was the
phone.
outcome, yo.
So yeah, so we are not getting. We've given him a lot of opportunities, and his network seems to be.
Maybe he should come on tomorrow. Then that will force Mr. Gongo to come on to do he leaves from work after 4. Because after 11 already, and
Yeah,
was
so
it
yeah,
still Sunday?
you guys supposed to go. Yeah, tomorrow is Monday. So let's close out here. I want to say thanks to all the panelists. Thanks to all of you for coming. It was a great show, and I'm excited about the future of this platform. I'm excited about the way we are going. It was great. Y'all, thank you so much. Thanks to our listeners for following us and believing our dream. And thanks to everyone who are listening to us via the voice of BKS in Butuo district number 5. Again, so we'll call it a night. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same hour.